a wonderful day!
We will name her Nova.
You are familiar with the concept of evolution?
Caesar. The masks. Take his name. Twist his words.
You heard it up top. That's right, we're mixing apes and hawks as we head to the future, like we said. In the past, in another world, we'll talk about it because we've talked a lot about this franchise. We're wrapping things up with the last entry, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, here on Normies Like Us with your hosts. It would be like Colin Waka. I'd have like a big ass bird.
Right. I think I'd be Maximus Caesar.
Oh, and this is Proximus Jacob.
Wow.
What a wonderful day, Normies.
What a wonderful day, indeed.
Apes together strong.
The
words of
ape
Caesar
shall not
himself.
kill ape. Yeah.
I'm not anymore.
I'm
He
thankful
is
for his
not
words.
Caesar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't twist his words, though. I mean, we got to believe the true gospel of Caesar here.
That's right. You know, we know the truth of Caesar, and unfortunately, this is the first one without Caesar, our first Disney one, and it's the last mainline Apes movie that we're going to have for a while. It's almost feels like a time for some Grape Juice Plus, you know, a little bit of a celebration to have made it this far.
Yes.
But I'm excited to talk about it.
Special episode. At the end of next month, we'll have our special bonus episode. I don't know if we've announced what it is or if we should leave it a surprise.
We'll announce it at the end. I think we've mentioned it, but we'll tease it for him. But yeah, I think we're locked into that idea.
Just say there might be some more Andy Serkis in our future.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have more ape-based thoughts, but this
I have ape-based thoughts all the time.
every night when you go to bed.
I mostly have based ape thoughts, but that's just me.
And I have NFT thoughts, but bored ape thoughts. But this episode, we will be not only talking about this film, but also kind of wrapping up a lot of our thoughts on this franchise and doing a big look back, as you guys are saying. And I'm very excited to talk about it. It's been a very long journey. Before we even get into that part of it, again, we've done these long miniseries before. How are we feeling? This is definitely one of my favorite ones we've ever done, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say it's almost as long as our Star Trek one, or maybe, I don't know, which one's longer. Pretty similar, I guess. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Taken almost a year, basically. And I'm happy to be, not happy to be wrapping it up, but I am happy to be talking about this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think collectively we all kind of agree that these are some really great movies, even the ones that are not super good from like some of the 70s ones that are a little strange. But yeah, what a cool franchise. And I'm glad we finally did this because I've always had an affinity for the originals, but I really never watched the reboot series or paid much attention to it. So now I have found myself, you know, really in love with the character of Caesar. And, you know, so now that adds on to my ape affinity, I guess. So I'm stoked to be talking about this one. I watched it twice, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah. Well, of course, this movie came out less than a year ago. It came out in May of last year, about 9 months ago. So we did all see it at that point. So I guess this is at least our second viewings.
It's in my top 10, you know.
My top 10 as well.
Colin, very high on Colin's list.
Yeah, very high.
It was in my like 11 to 15 range, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You also pointed out, Jacob, though, within this year, it is an Oscar nominee, which is kind of interesting to talk about, given that this episode is releasing right before the Oscars, where it will be honored with the statue for Best Ape-Based Movie. Yes,
nominated with Better Man, the Robbie Williams movie, and was it Wicked, the Flying Monkeys, and Wicked,
Gladiator 2. Mike said,
and Gladiator 2, Sir Didymus.
You pulling out the Wicked is good, dude, dog. That's crazy.
The flying apes, yeah.
It's a tight field. It's tight field. We have flying apes, then we have apes that train birds. In this one, is that there's a lot going on with wings and apes in 2024.
Wow. Yeah. By the way, mentioning the Oscars just briefly, I wanted to let you guys know, of course, this is the last episode before the Oscars of our podcast. Any last minute predictions on Oscar? I know Best Picture has been very open-ended. For the most open race we've had in years is what they're saying. It's looking like Anora is now the favorite. So, but no one knows for sure.
Oh wow, a film we all
I
like.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there was some controversies with some of the other. Amelia Perez was, I guess, the front runner at one point, and has sort of crashed and burned. And so now it's between Anora, Conclave, The Brutalist. I'm kind of surprised, Dune Part 2, people must have forgotten about that one. It's getting no buzz for being actually winning, which I'm surprised by because it was my number one movie of the year.
I think I only have one prediction, Jacob, and I'm excited to hear your guys's if you have any. But I think the only guaranteed lock, because you're talking about what a weird, versatile year this is turning out to be. I think the only guaranteed lock is old Timmy Shams for Best Actor. I think that's
interesting. I wouldn't say it's a lock.
Done deal. I don't know.
That was my prediction as well. It's between him and Adrian Brody for Best Actor. I also predicted Timothy Chandelier will go the distance there.
I think it will cement music biopic performances as being basically the only way for men to win Academy Awards, in the same way that women can only win for Nazi films.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that metric, but yeah. Well, Austin Butler got huge off of his
didn't win
Elvis one too.
Elvis,
but yeah. Rami Malek.
Oh yeah,
I guess that's
true.
Thought
about that vector.
Well, shout out to Timothée Chalamet for being in 2 Best Picture nominees this year with Dune Part 2 and A Complete Unknown. And this is the third. Did you know this is the third time in his career? It's only 29 that he's been in 2 Best Picture nominees in the same year.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
You know what the other ones are?
No.
One was Dune Part 1 and Don't Look Up, which is a small role in. And then the first one was Call Me By Your Name and Lady Bird.
That's incredible.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So, but yeah, my prediction, Chalamet for best actor. I would say the only guaranteed lock is Kieran Culkin for Best Supporting Actor. A Real Pain. He's won every single award leading up to this. So,
and you guys saw that. Is it good?
Yeah. It's fine. I didn't love it.
I think it's good. It's not a Best Picture nom. Like, to me, like Anora is way better, but his performance in it, I think, is very good. Right, exactly. I think Kieran is.
It's nominated for screenplay and supporting actor.
I think he's earning it
wrote
with his performance. Is all I'll say.
His performance is fine. If you've seen Succession, I may have mentioned this in our top 10 films, but he's essentially doing the same kind of role that he played in Succession, like the same kind of like charming asshole character with a heart of gold, maybe, but also kind of can be abrasive. So maybe I don't know he's getting a lot of accolades in Hollywood right now, so good for him. But I don't know if it would be my number one pick for supporting actor.
Yeah,
then my other prediction. Sorry, I just think Best Actress. It's really between Demi Moore for The Substance, and I think Mikey Madison, Anora, is coming on strong. She might actually upset, because I think Demi Moore is the favorite right now. But if they go with the younger generation, Mikey Madison,
Timothée Chalamet,
I think what you mean, Jacob, is it's a battle between Demi Moore in the
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Demi Moore, if she took The Substance, a younger version of
her.
right. Margaret Qualley. Yeah, I don't know. The Demi Moore thing, it's more like a Lifetime Achievement type award for her. And it's like, oh, this is the first time she's had a role like that where it's like Oscar nominated. But if the Academy skews younger this year and says, we got to lift up our up and coming stars, Mikey Madison and Timothée Chalamet, that might be kind of interesting.
I think,
but anyways,
people, no, they're saying like, oh, there's no new movie stars. Like, I think it would be good for the industry to do that, but the Lifetime Achievement is something we have seen done before too, so I could see it going either way.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Jamie Lee Curtis when she won for Everything Everywhere.
Right.
But that's kind of my thoughts on the Oscars. This movie, I want to mention for Best Visual Effects. Yeah.
And famously, none of these have ever won, and we think they should have. It's lost to Blade Runner 2049. It lost to Hugo. Like, the Apes films have never won, but they've been nominated. So it'll be interesting to see up against Better Man, Dune 2, Wicked, and Alien Romulus.
Yeah, tell me what Sorry, say those.
Oh,
ones again.
Wicked, the worst movie of all, looking movie of all time.
Yeah.
So let's knock that
Wicked,
off.
Dune Part
Better
2,
Man,
Better Man, another ape movie.
and Wicked,
It
as
really
you
is
said.
best ape. And Wicked. And what's the other? What's the fifth
Alien
one?
Romulus is the fifth
Alien
one.
Romulus.
Oh,
Your
I'm
other
pulling
favorite
for you,
movie.
Mike. I think the Ash looks terrible, but I'm pulling for you.
Honestly, I think Ash should get it disqualified. I'm surprised. I want Apes to win because I think these movies deserve it, and we'll talk about it. Like I think the level of special effects
Over
mastery
Dune
in
Part
all of
2,
these.
though?
Yes,
I still got to root for Dune Part 2. I mean, it's
it's
the
a
biggest
lifetime
epic
achievement
sci-fi.
award for Weta.
Maybe. But did Dune Part 1 win its year? I don't remember.
That I don't know.
I could look at
But-
Was
this.
it up against Way of Water or something? Because that might have destroyed it.
Maybe.
Possibly,
Should
but
we look it
I
up?
didn't think I would switch Alien Romulus with Furiosa. I can't believe Furiosa is not nominated for best special effects.
For nothing.
Furiosa, totally snubbed.
It's insane
Right.
that Chris Hemsworth didn't get a nom.
Bro, that is over Kieran giving
Right.
Chris Hemsworth
Best
best supporting actor. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll just do a quick just because we're on this. Jacob, either do this too, or maybe you do this, but I do my little who I would nominate for the Oscars on Letterboxd when I do my live update of who wins. You should put that list together as well. You just write it out.
Oscar,
You know what I mean?
your predictions of what you think will happen, not what you want to happen.
Well,
Right.
I do both. So I do a whole list that's the post where I go, I think this is what'll win, and then I edit it with what actually won. So I'll put like a C next to my choice and then a W for the actual winner. And then I write out in the comments the Colin Awards, which is my 5 nominees for
I love
every
the Colin
category.
Awards.
Well, I
The
will
Academy
be putting
Awards?
Chris Hemsworth up for Best Supporting Actor because that's
Incredible.
such a crazy role.
Yeah. Australia's
Well, just an update here. Best
national
visual
treasure.
effects. 2021, Dune did win over
Right.
Spider-Man: No Way Home, Shang-Chi,
Okay.
No Time to Die, and Free Guy.
All those
Avatar
movies
won the
look
next year.
horrible that you just listed.
Yeah.
Those are some of the
pretty
worst
dire.
looking movies I have
Yeah.
ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That list you just read. If Dune didn't destroy them, that would be such a fucking travesty.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
year might be a
no.
little better with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Alien Romulus. Last year, of course, was Godzilla -1. The year before that,
Yes.
Avatar: The Way of Water, then Dune, Tenet the year before that in 2020. So I think based on this, I think Dune Part 2 will be the favorite, but maybe Kingdom could sneak in there. We'll see.
After watching all these, like we love Caesar, you know, and we got him in the snow, his icy little fur. Like what Weta has done with these 4 movies now, I think deserves to be
I will
recognized.
say it is unfortunate 2017 because Blade Runner 2049. I mean, come on, how do you not give it to that? But
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
so
So
just up
I'm
against
calling
it.
for the Apes. Yeah. Personally.
Interstellar beat Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then let's see, Rise,
Hugo.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for Apes.
I think it's time for the Apes, and we'll talk about it more as we get into the episode. But movies, you know, go see them in the
It's been
theaters.
the year
Colin.
of Apes.
This has been teased for a long time.
Oh, that's true.
Is it finally
no.
time, Colin?
I will say,
It sucks. We're an hour into this podcast. We haven't talked about it now, Jake, but I have to tell the longest story on the planet.
I was happy on my rewatch this time that I was able to watch the first 15 minutes of this movie for the first time, you could say, and understand what was happening.
Yep.
Because, of course, famously, Colin almost did have to fight a guy in our first viewing of this when we went and saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
Take it away, Colin.
So
Yeah,
here
what's
it
the
is.
war for the kingdom of
Jacob
the
and
Planet
I-
of the Apes.
the true war for the kingdom. So
Yeah.
Jacob and I typically go to movies together. We go to a local cinema that was by us there in California.
That's right.
And we got tickets. We were very excited. It was opening weekend. I think like Dead Center Middle or something is one of these places where you had to choose the tickets. We went at our usual time, I feel like a Saturday matinee, right?
Or Sunday.
Or a
Yeah,
Sunday, because we
Sunday
usually
matinee.
try to ditch out from like the big serious crowds, but you know, you always want to see it with some people. And we sat in front of a family that, look, here's the thing. You're going to
talked about
talk during, well, if you're going to talk during the previews of a movie, my rule is like, go crazy. You can say like anything when the previews are happening,
Yeah.
right?
Get your one-liners out of the way there.
Ask questions, be on your cell phone. These are the modern contrivances of going to, unfortunately, see a movie in 2024.
Well, once the movie starts, yes, the degeneration of our society where people do not understand that if you're seeing a movie in a theater, in public with other people, you should not be talking.
There are some rules.
Be having your phone out, like, Alamo Drafthouse. They will, they're good about it, but other theaters
they will take you out back and shoot you. Yeah, if you do that.
Yeah. The ArcLight used to say we will have an attendant standing by for the first 15 minutes to make sure no one is on their phones. They would have a person do the announcements every time before a movie, and they would say that shit. So,
yeah.
And just side tangent. Of course, my theory is that COVID spread this up or sped up the cycle. That everybody gets all their entertainment now from their living rooms. That they treat everywhere they go as being in their living rooms, and you're just allowed to be on your phone and talk and do whatever you want.
Young people these days, they have no respect, no respect at all.
We are yelling at Cloud. Old man yelling at Cloud.
I don't even think it's just young people. I've seen full-grown adults on the phone talking. It's just this kind of lack of respect for the public space.
It's just you should have a certain decorum in public because other people paid for their movie tickets. They want to enjoy the movie. They don't want to hear you talking. Like that's kind of a base level thing. So maybe it's a crotchety old man thing to complain about, but it's one of my pet peeves in life.
It shouldn't be, unfortunately.
My mother has a saying that says, common sense, unfortunately, lately is not so common. And that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah.
She is correct.
Setting the stage, this is what we're going to be dealing with.
So we had a family behind us who, a bunch of younger kids, it seemed like all ages, teenagers.
Kind of a young couple.
A young couple, yes. I would point that out as well, who just seemed to be passing as much food as they could be doing, answering each other's phones, like passing phones between each other to have conversations, like full on, like truly Looney Tunes madness. It's happening up to the trailers, and that's fine. Then they kind of start shushing each other, so it seems like the dad can take on the role of reading the opening title cards to everything. He's pointing out this is a 20th Century Fox movie. He starts reading, Caesar was the ruler of the, like however this fucking movie starts, and you're just like, well, no, that's like not what you're allowed to do, like at all. So he's right behind Jacob and I. I turn around and go, shh. I basically just do it at that level, and that is it.
Colin is not afraid to do. I am too polite and too scared of confrontation, so I will, even if I will sit there and silently seethe, I will never do that because it's just not my way. But Colin has no, conniptions about doing that. So he's just like,
I have been in theaters with my parents when I was a kid and yelled at other teenagers to be quiet out loud. Like I have always had the golden rule of like, no, just watch the movie. Like you cannot be doing shenanigans.
Right.
No, movie theater is it's my temple. Like how dare you desecrate it with your noise while I'm watching a movie, right?
And if it didn't come up on the mic, I just want to reiterate. The noise I made was a shush that was basically the level of shush. Like that. It was truly the quietest you could be, most polite way to be like, shh, no, stop. Like, do not do that now. Now, the guy behind us stands up and says, what the fuck did you just say to my daughter?
The dad of the family, who's probably is like early 20s, to be honest, right?
Yeah, definitely younger than us.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like the unfortunate fact of getting older and not having a family is that you're just an older weirdo who now is being confronted by someone who feels very territorial that he has to protect his family from the menacing threat of going like, stop reading out loud the movie we're all watching.
But this guy got very offended at your very mild shushing. And
he said, what are you doing? Why did you do that? What's going on, man? You trying to fight? What's going on right now? When I did not react and just sat there, he leaned his head forward right behind me, whispered in my ear, I'm going to fucking kill you, man. What the fuck did you just do to my family? And I stood up because that's like the game over rule. Like you can't like threaten to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And basically decided I'm going to go get the management. So he's seeing me stand up, goes, perfect. He says, great, out loud. He says, perfect, great. Let's take this outside. And I said, no, I'm going to get the manager. And he said, I kid you not, out loud, well, no, don't do that.
He just wanted to fight you outside.
He pulled his pants up because his pants were dropping between his legs to start walking down the aisle and chase me. But because of that, I had more speed to get away. Went outside, went immediately to the concession stand, was like, hey, there's a guy who's about to come out here who's like threatening to kill me because I shushed him. Like, you got to bounce this dude. Now, Mike, if this guy who we're about to fight is younger than me, this manager, he's like 16 years old. Like, this is gosh. Like the unfortunate like reality of like what minimum wage jobs are now. You're like, oh, you're the guy who's in charge. You can't, you like got dropped off here by your parents.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You have a packed lunch. That's crazy. Yes.
So the guy comes out and immediately goes, yo, whatever he's saying, fuck him. I didn't do it. And I go, so deal with that. And I point to the guy and then I walk around and leave. And he goes, no, you can't. And I shut the door and just walk back in the theater. And I walk up and I go back to our seats where Jacob is. And Jacob, you're like, what's going on? And I'm like, yo, I just yelled at the guy to get bounced. Let's sit here. The guy immediately comes back in, starts screaming at us again. And Jacob turns, and to your credit, dog, for you saying you're, not going to be confrontational. You turn and say, yo, dude, just be quiet and sit down.
Yeah. Wow. At that point, I mean, it was crazy. Like the movie's going on this whole time. Yeah. And there's basically this guy's like yelling at you in the theater. Like at this point, the whole audience is like aware of what's going on,
Yeah. Some people are booing. Like it does suck, dog. Like we are like unfortunately making a scene opening week of Kingdom of the Planet.
But we didn't make the scene. This guy made
right, but you're now a party to it. Yeah.
The 16-year-old scuttles up, completely bent over to like not block anybody, and he just starts going, "Okay, so how we're gonna resolve this is you guys move." And Jacob goes, yo, we're not causing the problem. They should move. And the kid goes, I know, but look at him. There's just like no way he's going to do that.
Remember he said, he's like, you gotta understand, he's being a papa bear.
He's being a papa bear. He's being very territorial. He's being a papa bear. So you guys just got to get out of the conflict. And we were like, all right.
Like,
and we
whatever.
got up
and we moved like 2 rows closer. Up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I just wanted to watch the movie at this point, and then it kind of settled down, and it seemed like it was going to be okay. But
now, Mike, I don't know if you would feel the same way, but Jacob and I have this sort of psychic conversation afterwards. We get in the car where we both had the same realization that as the movie's ending, we're both kind of thinking, "Wait, is this guy going to try to fight us again?" Like the second this movie stops, and it's like. Are we gonna literally have to like fucking turn and bounce on this thing? Like, is it gonna have to be like we either get up and go or like we get up and fight? Right. And there's this moment where like the credits are rolling and you're kind of in your mind like
to leave before
you're like, right? Yeah. We like pretend there's like a post-cred scene in the Planet Apes. Like you're just kind of in your mind like, well, there's no way that's true. Like you just imagine everybody else getting up around you, and every person who stands up, you're thinking in your mind, they're about to shout, hey, dude, or, like fucking something, like be this guy. And we get up, finally, they're fucking gone. They left like midway through the movie or something, it seems like. Like they didn't even stay the whole fucking time.
I don't know when they left, but to your credit, they weren't being loud after that confrontation. So we did fix the problem of them talking to
they learned a lesson.
Yeah.
It was resolved. Yes, good work. Yes. That is crazy.
He didn't have to read this. The moment of clarity came of like, wait, was I reading the screen out loud? That's not what I'm supposed to do. I shouldn't do that for my kids. This is dumb.
But because of this whole situation, we really, I mean, the first 15 minutes of this movie, the first time, I really did not get much of. I had to sort of put together through context clues. I'm sure you got even less, Colin, having to go out and talk to the manager and all that stuff.
Wow.
So, it was good to see that, and it was good to get into the movie, and we ended up, really liking the movie when we saw it. So,
yes. So right in,
talk about that movie.
Normies, right in with your best theater fight stories. If you guys have them, I want to hear them too. Either of you guys, Mike, have you ever fought a kid at a theater?
I've never gotten like a serious. I've shushed people and they became shushed,
but I kill you.
It never got heated to the point of physical altercation, luckily.
They usually don't come up and sit right behind you and whisper in your ear, I'm gonna kill your bitch ass after this movie.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what this guy was doing. So
That's crazy.
The other one I can remember when we went and saw Colin and I went and saw Scream 6 in the theaters. There was a bunch of like preteen girls behind us that were being insanely loud.
Dude, that was that's in the episode. I would urge listeners to go back and listen to the Scream 6 episode where Jacob and I tell a story about two children filming a TikTok mid viewing of Scream 6.
Yeah.
Right.
Same theater. So
Oh
just not a good theater.
No,
theater, I mean it's cheap tickets, but it's
you get what you pay for.
Wild West.
No, I mean, I went to Sonic in theaters at a civilian theater, as I call them. Anywhere that's not the Draft House is a civilian theater. And the children were more well-behaved than those teenage girls you described in Scream 6.
Yeah.
So, But I go to the Alamo
the Draft
for this.
House is sacred. Yeah.
It's sacred, yeah. So I loathe going to a civilian theater, as I term it, because of that behavior. So, anyway.
For sure. But that's
Cinemark's here now, Jacob. Cinemark's the closest one to me here now, Jacob, and I've gone a couple times and it's been fine.
Yep, but
it's an area of the valley that doesn't have the highest class of people coming to see movies on the weekend. I guess I don't know, but parents, teach your children don't talk in movie theaters. Look, maybe it's being nitpicky, but it's just my personal pet peeve, and I stand by it.
Let me just say, maybe some of these people talking in movie theaters could stand to catch the ALZ113 turning mute virus, so they don't fucking talk in my movie.
Here's my last question. I'm so sorry we've got to stay on it, but I know we're trying to get away. But my last question, Jacob, having seen that guy, do you think he had ever seen any other Planet of the Apes films?
I'm not sure. I mean, the last one came out in 2017, right?
There's not a chance. There's not a chance, dude.
Yeah. Maybe that's why
did he want to see it? Why was he going to it?
Well, it's kind of a movie you could take your kids to that everyone could enjoy it. But I mean, go see In and Out 2 or something, or what's it? Inside Out.
He's just an auditory processor, so he had to read the title cards out loud to himself to understand what was happening. Yeah.
These little kids don't give a shit about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Maybe they just wanted to see some funny apes.
That's the lesson you take is like, I'm not reading this shit because they don't fucking care is what you should be thinking as the dad. Like, there's no, what are you kids winning by being like, pay attention here. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could lose the title card. A lot of it's in the text of the film anyway, but
the title card is really to remind you of the first three movies if you haven't seen them recently, and remind you who Caesar is and all that stuff, but it's not that important really.
You kind of find out throughout the movie, figure it out, but all that to say, we're here to talk Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
That's right. Now that we've got our grievances out of the way.
That's right. The apes together are strong. Apes shall not speak in the theater,
That was Caesar's secret third rule.
Caesar's words.
Yeah.
But let's jump into it then. Let's get into the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Right after this, just turn off your cell phones.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we mentioned it. We're entering a brave new world, a scary new world, one without our beloved boy.
That's right. Our beloved Caesar. Ape Jesus, years. As we've called him, and he really is Ape Jesus in this movie.
He's Ape Moses, he's Ape Jesus, he's everything, and now he's passed on. Obviously, he died at the end of war, ending his trilogy. We open with the funeral, and then we get our story about 300 years later. It says several generations or whatever, but they've outside of the film, they say it's about 300, 400 years in the future. Yeah,
and I like this little funeral intro because we get to see our old guys Rocket and Maurice for a couple seconds, and we remember the great ape that was Caesar, and we see them doing the typical thing, and then we see his sign, which was the window of James Franco's house that he loved so much,
right? Which I have on display for the viewers at home. Learn about Rocca later.
His cross, like for Christianity, is this symbol for Caesar. So there's a lot of similarities, let's say, between religion. I mean, religion is kind of a big theme, I would say, in this movie.
So when do you guys get that tattooed?
Ooh. If it wins an Oscar, let's do it. I would probably at this point, because I'm past the point of giving a shit about what tattoos mean. Like, I can have a goofy one, and that's actually not a bad design. Ape together strong.
Not goofy. Yeah, you can.
No, I think it's pretty sick, actually. Yeah. So maybe I could do that.
Do it
but
made
yeah.
out of bananas, though.
It's just banana. But this is very much a movie about ideas, like Jacob said, and how they kind of disseminate through time and how religion or other philosophies can be interpreted by different groups and stuff. And so that's part of the theming. And it's also a coming-of-age story.
Yeah. It's the legend of Caesar, passed down through the generations, can be twisted by bad actors or, again, similar to Christianity, how many bad things have been done in the name of Jesus and Christianity, when Jesus when obviously would not support those things. So
you'd say bad actors, or you'd say bad apes.
Bad apes, yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh no.
I love bad apes.
That's a big theme of this movie, is sort of twisting the words of Caesar to fit your ideology, maybe. And like you said, it's a coming of age story. We get introduced to some new characters, and let's talk about that.
Yeah. We have Noah, Anaya, and Soka. They're 3 childhood friends. Suna, you're right, Suna. And it's a big coming of age. They're a clan of apes that raises birds, which I thought interesting. Like, they would domesticate birds instead of dogs, because it's like, we're in the trees all the time. We hang out with birds. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's falconry. And
yes.
I have some experience with falconry because
I
did do some falconry in Tennessee. I went to a falconry place and they did like a presentation, and then we actually got to like
climb a tree and pick out your egg. That's crazy.
Yeah, we did the bonding ceremony. Yeah.
Yep. What's your favorite raptor?
I like the peregrine falcon, the fastest.
That's a good one. Harpy Eagle's good.
Come on. You're such a fucking liar. You know what it is.
What?
Animorphs is in your heart. It's the red-tailed
hawk Tobias.
Red-tailed hawk Tobias.
But peregrine is better. But red-tailed hawks are great.
Get
stuck in animal form. If you're in there for more than 2 hours, you'll get stuck.
Exactly.
I would turn into an ape. Actually, that would be pretty cool.
I'd turn into Noah.
yeah, I'll turn into Noah.
But falconry was a big thing, like in medieval societies and stuff, because you could actually, first of all, you could train, like the whole pair bonding thing is real. Like you pair bond to a bird when they're young, and you will be their master for life. It's a really strong bond. So you can train these birds, and then they would train them and they would hunt for them. So they would catch rabbits and small animals like that and bring it back to them. So that was a form of hunting in medieval societies.
So when you did it, it was somebody was putting it on your arm, and
it would fly like from a post or a tree to your arm, because you would hold out your arm with a piece of meat, and it would take the meat, and that's how you kind of train it. But if you pair bond with them when they're a baby, then they will treat you as their master, the dominant, I guess. And I like to think if I was in a medieval village or something, I would be the village falconer. That would be my occupation.
That would be
like
pretty
a blacksmith
sick.
or something like that. Yeah. I'd like to do that.
So
I'd like to be in this eagle
Game of
clan.
Thrones. You're like the master of crows or whatever.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So yeah, they had to all climb up, and it's like part of the coming of age ceremonies. You have to pick your egg. You have to climb the top nest, as they call it, and get your eggs. They always leave one. They never take all the eggs from the nest. But we're getting kind of this idea that apes are developing unique culture, which I like about this movie. We see kind of a couple different versions of how that culture is kind of grown in independent areas, like in different ways. The falconers.
Well, yeah, and I mean, being Kingdom of the Planet of Apes, it does have a lot of overlap with like how medieval or pre-medieval societies were sort of formed with these different clans, and then eventually, some conqueror comes along and like steals all the clans and makes a larger kingdom, and that's kind of how our history was.
Okay, but it's this movie.
Yeah.
It's this movie. It's exactly the same, but Noah pulls a sword out halfway through. Is that a perfect 10 out of 10?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He puts on a suit of armor.
They should learn to sword fight. Maybe that'll be the
Hopefully we get
one.
there,
Yeah.
Eventually, we'll see where the sequels go. But yeah, it's very Bronze Age. But they're doing their thing, um, and then they have like they like lose a blanket and they chasing what they call an echo, a human, and then
Yeah. So they
they
come
don't
back to their
go.
horses.
Yep,
Yeah, the
yep.
blanket is missing, and they're like, "Oh, it must have been an echo." There's the Forbidden Valley or something where all the echoes live, right?
Hmm.
And they're kind of they've never really seen one in person or in ape. Um, yeah,
Yep. And so they say they're like, all right, well, we got your coming of age tomorrow. We're gonna send our dude out, security guy, to go scare him away. Um, And then the Echo comes back to the village, ends up encountering Noah when he's fixing the fish smoker thing. And she bumps into him and breaks his egg. So now he's super desperate and he's going to go at night to get another egg, at which point he encounters their security guy who's been attacked. And there's a bunch of foreign apes that are dead on the ground. And it's like, oh no, we have an enemy faction is on the way.
yeah,
Um, and that's what he
and
warns them.
yeah, and then they do attack the tribe, the clan, and they're set fire to their whole, you know, their whole thing, and are rounding them up, making them prisoners and stuff. So it's a
Is
big,
this
big
kind of
thing.
where they're shown using a horrific electric device
Yeah,
technology? Dun, dun,
like
dun,
a
Yes.
cattle
dun.
prod.
When Noah's hiding and they show up to finish the guy off or whatever. Yeah, they got their cattle prods. These are apes that are riding horses. They have these masks, some type of light
Yeah,
armor, and like yeah, cattle prods. They have an understanding of use of electricity compared to this falconry tribe. So two very different types of groups, and they're going in marauding
yeah.
basically, and they burn down the whole thing.
And I like this idea that there's all these different clans out there that have their own thing. Like we have the Eagle clan, which are all about falconry and stuff like that. So I like to think there's other clans that have their own theme to them and stuff.
There's the clan that worships the mighty Tolkien.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then we'll
there's the
learn.
Water clan. Yeah.
Oh yes.
The
We'll learn
Water
about
Apes.
a third clan a little bit later too that kind of again has their own independent kind of belief system and culture, and I
Mm.
like that that's happening in this movie. But yeah, we get marauded, and we hear them saying at various times for Caesar. We start to hear whispers about
Or Caesar.
a
Yeah.
Caesar. What is going on here? Um,
So that's kind of maybe the first big twist of the movie where this gorilla who's like the general for Proximus, the first thing we hear him say when he's marauding is for Caesar. And we're like, wait a minute, Caesar? That's the cool guy from the last one that we like. So
that's like
boy.
hundreds
they're
of
doing
years
this in
ago. What
his
do you
name.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So Noah falls out of the tree. It's a big punch up, fight. His dad tries to fight off Silva. It's the whole thing. His dad's the
his
master of
dad
the
is the
Eagles too.
master of birds. And it seems like he's sort of Noah's trying to earn his respect as a son, and yeah. Then there's this big confrontation with the gorilla general.
I really
Noah and
like
his
this real quick the relationship between Noah's dad and him because the mom is a big character. We'll see her more
Yep.
in a
yeah
little bit, but the dad character could very easily be written off as like he hates me and we butt heads. But instead, it's like you're saying, Jacob, like he is trying to earn his respect, but like he loves
yeah
his son because he is his son, and they have this kind of tender moment. And then the reveal kind of is just that his bird doesn't like him. And that
Yeah.
yeah.
kind of sets up the fun little dynamic that's going to go
I
throughout
feel
the
like
rest of the film.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
We have
sort of he
Eagle
feels like he
Sun.
has to prove himself to his dad. He goes to the highest nest to get an egg because there's they need another egg, and then so when the egg breaks, it is a big thing for him. It's like, oh, my father will be disappointed. Like I need to show him that I can be the son that he wants me to be and stuff. So I need to get a new egg and all this stuff.
And he would have to wait a whole year, like, because the ceremony is
Yeah,
at a certain time of year. So yeah, it's a big deal, and I do like the little bit of friction he has with the Eagle Sun as his dad's eagle. And
yeah,
that's going to play a part in the story too. And even when he says like, "Oh no, we never take all the eggs because they first find three," that's establishing that like he has a respect for like the hierarchy and the rules and like the because his
yeah.
dad's the bird master. It's like he takes that very seriously. He might
Well,
inherit
When
that
the
one
apes,
day.
yeah.
they have a respect for nature in that like they know they need to. They don't want to take all the eggs, so they need some birds to be born in the wild to make new eggs in the future. So they understand like conservation and that kind of thing.
That is the law.
That
The
yeah,
law. Mike is doing the great sign right now. I always love to point out when movies have themes, it's very important. I've seen a lot of people throw around the words well, Captain America: Brave New World would have been better if it had a theme, and that is true.
Yeah.
It's if you just have a core principle your film's going for. This one has a very interesting one, which is coexistence. Every character is asked,
Mm-hmm.
can coexistence occur? The relationship with the birds, letting the egg exist. The echoes. Why do the apes tolerate the echoes? Can apes coexist with other apes? Like literally every character is asking this grand question, and I think it really makes this movie a lot richer.
That's a
Yeah.
really, really good point. Yeah, because I hadn't put the connection with the birds, and yeah, it's interspecies coexisting across all parameters. I think that's a great theme. Yeah.
Yeah, and continuing the question that of Caesar's time, of like Caesar trying so hard to make humans and apes coexist, and now that's passed on to this new generation of like, Noah and May representing their respective species. Like, can they coexist? And even by the end, they're still not sure. Like they asked that question at the end, like their last, scene together. So it's still kind of open, up for questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And like, how can ideas either help or get in the way of that is being explored and throughout this journey. And it is kind of like a little bit of an odyssey. We have this kind of first act in the village before the marauding, then we have the journey, and then we have this third act that's kind of surrounded around Proximus. But once Noah wakes up, his people have been taken. He barely survives. The village is burned down. And now he has to do the crossing the threshold moment of passing through the tunnel with which he would not pass through before. And he kind of enters into a larger world or whatever Obi-Wan says.
Real quick,
So he-
just to pause this right there, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, because we're talking about the adventure, the grandeur this film's about to have. The Wes Ball of it all, who is the director of this film, who did the Maze Runner trilogy, is kind of the big thing he was known for before this. He also did a pitch for a film he was greenlit to do with Fox called The Mouse Guard or something like that. And then when that got taken away from the Disney merger, they said, well, we'll give you Planet of the Apes. And we've said it before that, of course, his next film is Zelda. I just wanted to pause you guys because we are about to, the Legend of. We are about to go on this big sprawling adventure, which is sort of the heart of this film and why I like this film so much. I just want to do a quick shout out. I think Wes Ball is someone who does grandeur and grand adventure incredibly well.
I've not seen the Maze Runner.
I haven't seen,
but I like this a lot.
Yeah, I've never seen the Maze Runner movies.
I've fallen asleep to a lot of them. I can't positively say if I've ever seen one all the way through, but they're pretty interesting to me.
To me, it's like, you have your YA adaptations, you have your Twilight, you have your Hunger Games. The Maze Runner always seemed like a B or C level of those. Like Divergent, I've never seen Divergent, so I've Hunger Games I have seen, so I guess that's
Divergent. The funny great about it, Divergent, is it just gets an incomplete because they didn't finish it.
Oh, right.
It doesn't even get an upgrade. They're just like, well, you didn't turn in all your homework.
Yeah. DNF did not
but yeah,
finish.
The Maze Runner, could not tell you anything about it. I know it's like a post-apocalyptic type thing. I know there's a maze that you probably
I was going to say I could tell you one thing about it. They run in a maze.
Yeah. I did assume that, but yeah, I guess Wes Ball, this is his big, like, I can do real movies kind of movie. No offense to the Maze Runner. And of course, now he's taking on The Legend of Zelda, which we'll see how that goes.
And he's also been confirmed to be returning for a sequel to this movie. So maybe at the end we can talk about where we think that's going to go. But
so
Zelda's
is he the new
interesting
Matt
Zelda
Reeves?
doesn't talk. Oh, is he the new Matt Reeves?
Right. Well, Link doesn't talk.
Right, yeah. Link doesn't talk. But
well, some of these characters are nonverbal.
Right.
True. So we'll see. But is he the new Matt Reeves is an interesting question because as we've mentioned on some of the quizzes, Matt Reeves is the only person to direct two of these besides, the original director did like a B-grade sequel, but not many people return to do more than one Apes movie, I guess is my point. So he'll be the third in that line if Wes Ball does come back.
By the way, speaking of, so Franklin J. Schaffner, the director of the first Planet of the Apes, I saw a movie by him recently called The Boys from Brazil, which was a completely insane movie about Nazis growing clones of Hitler in South America.
Yeah.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Cool.
He directed that, with Laurence Olivier, Gregory Peck, and James Mason, some classic cinema actors.
Charlton Heston.
That's right. But Gregory Peck playing Dr. Joseph Mengele, who's like this evil Nazi scientist. It's this insane sort of plot about they clone Hitler. They're growing all these young clones of Hitler, the boys from Brazil. So insane movie from Franklin J. Schaffner there.
Nice. And themes.
Just had to mention that because I saw it recently.
Themes.
Yeah.
Right.
But Westfall, I think he does a really good job with this movie. And I am excited to see. I know they announced it's going to be a new trilogy at least of like this following these characters, which I'll be interested to see kind of where they go from here. Of course, the villain of this movie, spoiler alert, dying at the end of it, right? So that's sort of wrapped up the whole Proximus arc. But where did we go from here with the apes?
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead too much because we're still talking about the plot, but yeah.
Right. But I guess at this point I do want to mention our cast real quick. I guess we have Owen Teague is playing Noah, Lydia Peckham as Suna. Where is our? Right. I don't have it. Anaya, Travis Jeffrey as Anaya, the best friend, and Kevin Durand is Proximus, and Freya Allen is May, and Peter Macon is Raka, who we're going to meet soon. I think it's a great cast, filling the shoes of Andy Serkis.
In a minute.
Kevin Durand may be the biggest actor in that he's kind of a character actor, but then Jacob, maybe Freya Allen, the biggest actor
Allen,
in this movie?
Of course, most recently famous for, not famous, but playing Ciri in The Witcher show. Ciri, a great character from The Witcher. Our favorite show? No. But,
some seasons of it are good. But yeah.
When I said Ciri, my phone started thinking I was talking to it.
You love it.
That's great.
But yeah, The Witcher show. So she's known from that. Kevin Durand
played The Witcher show.
Kevin Durand, also a hell of a basketball player. Am I right?
Oh my gosh, I knew that was coming.
AD.
No, but Kevin Durand has been in a lot of stuff. You'd probably recognize him if you saw him in human form. A lot of people would. Usually playing a villain of some kind.
Can you believe Shaq played the gorilla?
Shaq would be a terrifying gorilla if they made him the size of Shaq.
That would be a really cool actor in these movies.
I do want to shout out Silva's actor because you mentioned that though, but Eka Darville, he's actually like not a huge giant guy. He's kind of like just regular dude, which is interesting how the technology with the performance mapping, like you don't need a giant person to be a gorilla in these movies. It's all about the physicality. Right. I just thought that was neat seeing some of the behind the scenes.
And of course we'll talk about it too, but you watched the no effects cut of this, right?
This is a perfect segue to it. Mike, this is all I want to hear about from this podcast episode, basically.
Yeah, I'll bring up interesting tidbits, but I watched it regularly, and then I watched on the Ultra HD special features. You can watch the entire movie with commentary from Wes Ball, and it's top and bottom, the theatrical cut, and then the no special effects cut, and they kind of discuss
that's awesome
the process of doing the visual effects. Yeah, it was.
And that's like really a DVD extra or something.
Yeah, it's the full cut of the movie with a full commentary, and then it has one spot is VFX, one spot is no VFX, and it's really interesting to see.
Cool.
That's so cool.
What was practical?
It'd be cool to see that
wasn't.
For Avatar. If Avatar did that.
Well, Weta did both Avatar and the Apes movies. The technology is being pushed by both James Cameron and these Apes films from 2011 or from 2007 to now. So that's why I want them to win an Academy
Rick
Award.
Jaffa and Amanda Silver, who were involved with these series, has also worked on the Avatar movies. So
that's right. So
there's a lot of connections between those two franchises.
I do want to shout out reclaiming the Earth and fighting off invaders.
A tribe of nature lovers fighting against the industrialist in a way, with Proximus wanting the technology and knowledge of humans and all that. I do want to shout out also Raka, Peter Macon, like you said.
Yes.
An actor that I know from Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek ripoff show, you could say, or knockoff Star Trek show, The Orville, where he played Bortus, a character that's essentially the Worf of that show. And he plays a race of alien that's essentially the Klingons of that show. So pretty interesting, and I like him a lot in that show. Yeah, they're all
Nice.
a completely male society, which so there's a lot of storylines around. Well, they actually cover it up, but there are females of that species sometimes. But there's a lot of like trans themes and stuff and allegory in those storylines. Pretty interesting stuff, actually. Some of my favorite parts of that show. So Bortus, Peter Macon, great character, and I love Raka. I love him as Raka in this. So
yeah, and
that as well.
We run into Raka pretty soon into the journey. Like once Noah sets out, he's trying to follow the tracks of the mask, so he kind of basically falls into LAX, where he meets Raka, who at first thinks he's an enemy. Yeah.
So essentially, Noah, he's knocked out in the fight. When he wakes up, the tribe is gone. His father is dead. He buries his father and then decides to go after the tribe and, save them. Right. So that sets up the adventure.
Yes. He goes through the tunnel, which he would never travel past. If I take one more step, it would be the farthest from home I've ever been.
Crossing the threshold,
potatoes, bananas.
That's right. And this is definitely taking place in Southern California as opposed to the other movies were all up in San Francisco area, because it is from the wide shots. Like he's at LAX. We end up at Griffith Observatory at one point. So it's a Southern California ape movie.
That's really cool, Mike.
Yeah, which I think is neat. So we've had New York, San Francisco, and now, the Los Angeles area.
And that's where we meet where Proximus is, what's that supposed to be? That's
near San Diego-ish. Yeah, somewhere down there.
Well, he's got all those big burritos,
like a military base.
French fries in them. That's how you can tell.
Yeah. I want the fish tacos, says Proximus. They built that set, so that's not a real place. I do have Baja Blast. Speaking of Baja style.
Hey, there we are. So here's what I want to talk about real quick. You introduce these characters, the actors. Let's kind of finish up introducing our main characters here. And that Noah goes on this adventure. He saves Raka. Raka is this sort of spiritual mentor. He's this little orangutan. He passes on your necklace there, Mike, and says, like, you should hold on to this little symbol and hear about this guy, Caesar.
Important.
Noah's like, I don't know about none of this Caesar bullshit. And then while they're out and about, they bump into more echoes. We get sort of a different look on how other tribes and cultures view the humans. And we meet the Nova that is going to be the Nova for this story. We'll talk about her a little more in a minute, but we said Freya Allen. Now, guys...
She's following him. Yeah.
She is, yes. That's sort of a twisty reveal. Why is that Nova following you? I want to ask, having just watched the last movie, right? There was a little more time between when we'd watched this version the first time, but having just watched a film that has a chimpanzee lead with a mute little blonde girl who has a spiritual orangutan friend, is this film hitting too many of the beats that the franchise has previously hit?
I'll say this. At first, I thought, it's kind of lazy to have another mute human named Nova. But then I forgot that they sort of explained that because Raka says, like, oh, we called them all Nova. No one knows why.
No one knows why.
I love that. Yeah.
It was written in a book one time.
Right. Remember the first Nova was named after the Chevy Nova because there's the thing from a car.
Who could forget that? You don't need to remind us.
I love that. Yeah, Bad Apes little chateau.
Nova.
Yeah. But Raka, this is interesting. So, of course, Noah's first experience of Caesar and learning about who Caesar is from these marauding army apes of Proximus who say for Caesar in his name and all that stuff. So he's like, oh, Caesar must be a bad guy, right? Then he meets Raka, who I kind of think he's the peaceful country monk, right? That Noah comes across, and he shows him the good side of Caesar and what Caesar really stood for. So again, it's that idea that, legend passed down through generations can be twisted in different ways and interpreted in different ways.
It's so perfectly paired to our own society of imagine you're a normal person living in Jerusalem in the Crusade times, and a white knight runs up with a sword and screams for Jesus and cuts off your best friend's head. You'd be like, what is happening? And then if you meet a priest who's like, I don't know about any of that stuff, I
was thinking exactly of the Crusades and, the things done in the name of Christianity and stuff. obviously a lot of bad things in our history have been done in the name of a certain religion or another, but also many good things have been done because you know, if you believe the gospel of Jesus as a ultimately a peaceful person who preached, you know, peace and loving your neighbor and all that stuff. And that's where Raka comes in to be like, no, this is the true gospel of Caesar. Like, ape shall not kill ape. Apes together strong. We know all that. And we learned that he had a partner who recently died and was killed by those same marauding apes. And they were part of an order that was passing down the legend of Caesar. So they really are kind of like monks of Caesar.
So crazy.
Yeah,
I love it. So good.
It's awesome.
The other thing,
the
too,
last one left. Yeah,
when we meet him, yeah, that's what's sad is he's the last of his kind, and Noah's like, they took my tribe, and he points at the funeral pyre, and he says, that was my tribe.
Yeah.
And that's the same way they did Caesar's funeral, was a funeral pyre like that. You know what I mean? Like, Noah did like a burial. Like, it's a cultural thing for Caesar to do pyres for people you honor, and it's cool that Rocco's doing that.
That's what Wikipedia said. I was like, he gets cremated. Why are you being so specific, Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if
Rocco's doing the same thing.
You know, the Gospel of Caesar, he was maybe the first ape to have a funeral like that and started a tradition of people in the order of Caesar, like having ape funerals in that way and burning the bodies.
Well, and we know, to tie it back to this entire huge series that we've been watching and doing, we 100% know, Jacob, that this book of Caesar, whatever he's reciting, definitely starts with the first line of, and then there was an ape that said no, he was the first, he was Caesar. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it is we are in lawgiver territory. Like, we are so close to being in the planet of the apes.
Yeah, this is Roddy McDowall is informed directly by this Caesar. Like, yes, he said no. Yeah.
And Raka calls him the lawgiver at one point too, so that's a reference to the originals.
So we're getting to the lawgiver.
So Caesar was the first lawgiver, the first elder, and as we know, important part of the legend of Caesar is that he was raised by humans. He was an ape raised by humans, so he sees both sides of the conflict.
Right.
And again,
the echoes were important to Caesar, so they're important to me.
Fucking Superman, Jesus, fucking King Arthur, Jacob. Like, it's crazy how he just like has moved into our greatest story. Is like, of course, the story of the ape Caesar.
Jesus famously the son of God, but also born to a human woman, right? So he's kind of like half human, half God, or whatever.
Eric Brooks, aka Blade, the Daywalker.
Yep.
Of course,
he has to walk two paths.
That's right.
Yeah. Which is why Caesar was so instrumental in being like, oh, he's the one ape that can bring these sides together because he understands both sides of it, and that's what he was trying to do in his lifetime. Unfortunately, we had some bad humans working against him, named Woody Harrelson, and
right. And there's some of those themes. Colin was asking this earlier because there is still like Proximus, Woody Harrelson, Let My People Go. Like, okay, there are some similarities which, maybe don't help the screenplay go crazy, but I like the themes anyway, and it makes sense that like the problems of the past return in present day because we never learn. Like, it's a cyclical nature of history is kind of what it's doing.
I love that. That's a very good point, Mike. Let's go forward with what the twist is, because basically it's almost like the film wants you to think that it is stuck in that cyclical nature, and then instead goes,
well, I want to
yes.
Also mention that, of course, our protagonist, what's his name? Noah, a biblical name.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Maybe Noah's obviously Ark. They don't know it's a biblical name. It's not spelled exactly the same with an H on the end. It's just Noa, I think. So it's some ape name that they made up, but it's got to be some kind of allusion to a biblical name.
Caesar literally means king. Christ means king. I mean, there's
a thing called Roman Catholicism at one point, and Caesar, Proximus, like they're very much doing Rome related stuff. So it is very much of that historical time period with Crusades and stuff.
Yeah. Reminds me a lot of Fallout New Vegas too, because there's a faction called Caesar's Legion.
I just wish there were apes in that game. Give me the mod.
Right.
But we do get the twist, I guess, where we get you get a classic chase scene with the other echoes. The Rocco's like, they're like you. Don't you want to be with your kind? And then we get the big chase scene with nets and stuff. At which point, I love a net in the Apes movie. God. And then she calls out to Noah for help when she's being pursued, and it's revealed that she
Yes,
can
this
speak.
is the big twist. So she's been mute up to this point. We're led to believe that she's another mute human, like all the humans are at this time. And we see, of course, our primitive humans or our wild humans, right, grazing and going to the watering hole with the zebras.
They've got big, long dreadlocks, but otherwise they're completely hairless. What an interesting choice that is.
I was
wondering about that.
I think some maybe had beards.
There's some guys with beards, but yeah.
I was wondering, see any guys with beards.
Here's my hot take. These humans, they're wearing like rags and stuff. They should be completely naked because they don't have any concept of clothes. You know, they're they're like wild animals. So they wear clothes. It doesn't make sense. But
I guess
so they
you
should all
can't
be
get
naked.
away with. Yeah, they still have human shame for their nudity.
The unrated version.
Yeah, the
unrated. That was in my cut.
Understand
the concept
Disney version.
Yeah,
they should wear like pelts, like animal pelts or mud.
They kind of, I think they kind of are like rags or pelts or something. But like
they look
if
like
they're really as primitive as we're led to believe, they're like animals. They shouldn't be wearing anything. Like
if they're
even
totally
the apes
feral,
don't all wear clothes. Yeah,
right. The apes are just
basically
learning about
deer.
clothes. Yeah,
they look at them and they're like, "Oh, don't spook them." And then they look up.
They're essentially a herd of wild animals, like the zebras, which they're grazing beside, right?
So they should have been
horses, as they call them.
Right. They should have been naked, though. 0 out of 10 would not watch again. But they do have the same look as the 1968 feral humans, and I think they're very much doing a throwback to the big chase scene from that with the horses. So, but
so
we learned
kind of the first sign that this one's different is that she's wearing torn up, tattered clothes, but she's wearing like long pants and a t-shirt instead of these
like
rags,
jeans and stuff. Right.
Well, the wild part is when one of the homeless-looking ones looks up from the water, and it's Chris Christopherson, and he says, "She's from space."
That's right. Gets in a fist fight with a gorilla.
Yeah, if only Charlton Heston was still around, he could add a cameo in this movie.
Oh my gosh. Colin, look at you. No, I don't want you. I want one of the dirty women.
Nova.
The filthiest girl out there.
So at this point, Raka and Noah decide to travel together to find Noah's tribe. Raka's like, "I've got nothing else to do. I'll come with you." And then this girl starts sort of following them. Raka kind of shows Noah like it's okay, like we should be nice to her, give her food, give her a blanket and stuff. They get cold at night. You know, they have no hair like we do.
It's his mother's blanket, though. That's a tough thing for him to do.
Yeah. This is important.
It is important. We'll hear that echoed through as well. He looks in a telescope, and so does she. And he's like, "Whoa!" She like had a thought in her brain when she looked in there. That's unusual.
She understands like what she's looking at. She has sentience, I guess.
Before she finally speaks.
Yeah. So we're led to believe she's mute this whole time, but the three of them make this traveling group together, unlikely companions. And so they kind of have a sort of a bond growing where there's like, all right, you're not so bad, human. And then we get the scene where we see the feral humans, and then Proximus's troops attack, right? And there's the big scene of they're catching humans and that kind of thing.
Can I just say real quick, because I always have to bring up my triangle. You know, it's an adventure movie. It's Indiana Jones. It's Sala. It's Marion Crane. You've got hot dude, lovable dude, hot chick, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What do we have here?
Right. It's the mummy coefficient.
Exactly. The mummy, Mike. This
is my other take. Do you think that Noah and May, they should have done some kind of interspecies romance angle with those characters?
But they will.
Because in any other situation, like if Noah was a human character, obviously these characters would be, in the trope, they would have some kind of romance building, right?
Well, it's very YA. Yes, it's very coded towards that. Now, Jacob, you did you watch the extended cut? No, that was just Mike watching the special features. There is a moment you can see where they interlock their braids to have sex with each other. It's an intergenerational, species thing. Yeah,
it would have been funny if Noah was like, I like you, but you're just so damn ugly.
You're just so damn ugly.
Getting a call back for that. No, I like that they can't do the trope of this has to be our romantic. Like that's the Hollywood default.
The male lead and the female lead.
Do that.
Yeah. In any other situation they would, but because one's an ape and one's a human, they can't breach
Right.
that.
No, this movie ends with her having a gun and like doing like shady stuff while he's like, "What the fuck?" and like running away from her.
Well, what I like
I mean, of
about
course, he has his own ape, romance character of Suna, right? Where he's like, that's my ape girlfriend, probably.
Right.
But what if there was like a love triangle where he's like, well, I really like this human though.
I don't know. I don't think we need to go down this road.
I'm going to pitch it to West Ball. I'm pitching it.
Fine. Oh, it's true. The Maze Runner. Maybe would put the YA in there. What I'd like though is like both of these characters are generational. Like they haven't been around during the time when humans were at their peak. So she's just been fed all of the anti-ape propaganda her whole life, and Noah was just fed all the anti-echo propaganda. Like they're stinky. Don't let them come around here. So like they're both learning, having their first actual interaction with one or the other at the same time throughout this movie, and kind of learning about each other in that way, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, even calling them echoes, like they've never really met a human in person, most apes, and they
didn't know the word human until Raka told them what it was. So they're very isolated.
Right. But yeah, we get our big twist of the first words that Nova, aka May, speaks, and she's about to be captured by the same guerrilla general of Proximus,
Noah!
Right? And
Silva,
she stands up, she shouts, Noah!
He rides his horse and
then he saves her. Yeah. And then Raka also, is there, and then they kind of get away. Raka knocks out the other guy, right?
Real quick, Mike, you love to point out when a gorilla is riding a horse, given that they're the largest things on the planet.
Yeah, I don't think they could do that. They need big horse,
like a Clydesdale, right?
Yeah, but I'll suspend that disbelief, I guess. It wasn't as bad as when we had an orangutan and a bonobo on the same horse in war or whatever, but,
Some strong-ass horses.
Just dies. It's like the Venom horse.
It has to be the Venom horse. Yeah.
But they get away, the three of them, and they're like, okay, we know you can talk now, basically.
She's like, why did you deceive us? Or, no, it's like, you were lying. And she's like, oh, my mom told me to be quiet, to keep myself safe. And, we still don't know what her deal is. Yeah.
She's still not telling him the whole truth of, like, her mission that she's on and all this other stuff about there's smart humans living in bunkers and stuff like that, which we'll find out later.
Yeah, but I do like that on second viewing, like, she is a lot more interesting. The first time I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing the same thing, and then she speaks. But now that I know that going into it, it's interesting to watch her before she speaks, basically pretending. And it makes a lot of her choices, I think, a lot more interesting as like a performance when you know the whole time that she's faking it.
It's a smart thing to do. Like, don't reveal too much about yourself before you know that you can trust these apes. And so pretend to be, one of the feral humans, the mute humans.
And she had a whole group she was with, and they got killed by Proximus's goons, basically. So she wasn't by herself always, and now she's just resorted to pretend to be a stupid human to hopefully survive this thing. And that's how she finds Noah. But yeah, she kind of lost some people too.
So yeah, they've all been affected by Proximus's forces in different ways and had their families killed or taken or whatever.
And you guys, you wouldn't be up there with some kind of spaceman helmet on?
Would I?
You wouldn't be so scared you were going to catch the A1Z1 or whatever the
we see at the end when
to.
The one human comes out, she's wearing like a hazmat suit, right?
Yeah.
My thought is, if you were part of the 10% that survived, and that is maybe a genetic thing, and then you have kids, potentially they have a built-in immunity, they have a less likelihood of catching the AL113 or whatever.
If you're still alive, if you're still alive past dawn, then you're probably okay. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they end up this bridge,
right?
Yeah, this is a great scene.
And this is a great scene. The music is great here, referencing the score of the originals, right? A lot of musical keys. And they have to cross this bridge. But what they don't know is that it's also an ambush that, again, Caesar's forces or Proximus Caesar, I guess you could call him. These bad apes have sort of laid a trap for them. They get to the middle of the bridge and there's, apes on either side. So they're kind of trapped, right?
This whole movie, Mike just pointed out, is about how PC culture corrupts.
That's right.
Of course, talking Proximus Caesar, PC culture.
That's right.
It just destroys.
He's all about going woke.
That's right. That's right. The woke monkey virus.
Proximus Caesar is woke.
He likes books, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's all about learning knowledge.
I'm interested in evolution.
Yeah, we don't teach that here.
DEI practices.
Yeah. Trevathan is the most qualified human to be to me.
Talking about Proximus.
Yeah.
Right. But so yes, we have a big confrontation here on the
Lion
bridge.
King moment.
Yeah. And so Raka, the mentor who's become a mentor to Noah, he taught him about books. He said the symbols have meaning, right? So he's teaching him that
and that comes into play later too. Yeah. But May falls into the river. Himself. He's trying to save May.
He saves May. Yeah. And then he's hanging by a rope. One of the bad gorillas cuts the rope, and the last thing he says is "Together, strong." Right. So he's still spreading the word of Caesar.
That's right.
He probably dies. Right. He goes in the water. And then May and Noah are captured and taken back to the kingdom of the planet of the apes.
Oh, the titular.
Yes, we get a shot when they're approaching on horseback, where Proximus walks to the window and the camera cranes above his shoulder like the Statue of Liberty from the first movie. I thought that was a nice touch.
Beach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
They're
on a beach, just like awesome. When Charlton Heston is riding his horse along the beach with Nova. Very reminiscent of that.
You damn dirty Proximus Caesar.
His crown is very Statue of Liberty shaped. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, you blew it all to hell and replaced it with an ape.
Like when there was Abraham Lincoln, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to tear that statue down.
So we meet Kevin Durant's Proximus Caesar, who is the charismatic leader of this cult. Jacob, you said earlier, the only way culture can progress was for these kings of these fiefdoms to basically steal civilians and be like, you live here now and I rule over you and we will be a society. And that's essentially how the Proximus is doing.
Yeah, the Roman Empire was created in that way, where the Romans would come and just conquer an area and say, okay, you're part of the Roman Empire now.
We can't just be like, no, we're not. Animals wallowing around in our shit, just doing whatever we please. Like, somebody needs to be in charge and set rules.
Yeah.
And it's a silly thing to think about. But yes, somebody set out to do that back in the day. And domino effect, we all now go to school and vote and have jobs and all this bullshit.
It's going so well in the year 2025.
It's perfect. It will never be destroyed.
Nobody's misinterpreting ancient writings for their own gain at all.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting because it is, maybe Spanish-speaking viewers look at this joke, but it's creating this monoculture. Mono means monkey in Spanish. So they're getting stripped of like their culture to become this monoculture of the Proximus Caesar crew. Like they're not, the birds don't come to the bird clan anymore. They just hang out, offshore. Like everything that we learned made their identity as a culture is removed right now when they're under Proximus's law as well.
And this is really how kings, get power. Like they don't just become kings out of nowhere. They take over other tribes and stuff and then say, listen, I'm a king now. You have to basically do what I say, or, we'll kill you all. So that's kind of what Proximus Caesar is doing. And he's learning all this knowledge from human books. We meet the human character of Trevathan, William H. Macy.
Totally normal name that humans have.
Yeah, it's a cool name, but it's wild.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about his backstory, like where he came from and things like that. But I guess he came from another one of these smart human bunkers or something.
Oh, I was like you. I was running around being a dumbass and I broke my foot. And the apes were like, hey, get in here.
Yeah. But he's sort of...
So I became their sex slave.
He's sort of Proximus's pet human that teaches him about history and reading and all this stuff.
It goes without saying the horrible things that are happening to him at night.
Yeah. So Trevathan.
Sure.
But it's interesting because when they get there, they're not really prisoners in a sense. Like they're immediately set free. Like, hey,
No, they're
go
not
hang
being held
out.
in cages. Yeah.
No, it's like
But
almost
it's
there's
kind of
like
like
this
if
kind
you
of
ran away, the guards would probably like kill you or something.
right. But you have general autonomy as long as you roll with the Proximus Caesar. Say the words. You know, what a wonderful day. As long as you kind of roll with the Caesar vibes, they won't fuck with you
Follow the
too
rules.
much. But you had to
Yeah.
follow the rules. Yeah.
You gotta follow the rules. You gotta do labor for Proximus, and as we find out, his ultimate
Yes.
goal, he wants knowledge, right? He's interested in the concept of evolution. He knows that apes are smart now, but they have so much to learn from historical humans. He wants all the knowledge immediately to become basically the more knowledge you have in this world, the more powerful you're going to be. And as ruler, he wants all of it. He wants to essentially rule the world, probably.
Right.
Um,
He does, and he's doing it for selfish reasons, but what a fucking investment into his culture that he's basically like, no, we can figure this out.
yeah,
This is also a tie back to Caesar when we saw the school that Maurice was running, and it had ape shall not kill ape, ape together strong, and the third one was knowledge is power. So he really is taking that third tenet of Caesar, being like, I want to learn everything, and it is interesting when he's like, I realize that I'm mortal. Like I don't have enough time
Yeah.
to learn the shit that I need to. We need to go now. Like I need to get this shit popping. It's a very interesting character, actually.
yeah, I like it too because he's not just like a one-dimensional villain. Like he wants to be. I mean, he's a bad guy, but he wants to be a good ruler, and he wants to have the most knowledge because knowledge is power. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting. And there's this essentially door that they want to open that has a bunch of human technology inside, tanks, guns, weapons, all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
that Proximus would love to have. But they can't open this giant steel door.
So he's like
So
basically
that's
mining thermite and trying to blow it up like
yeah,
once a day. And then they're like, damn it, we'll try again
insane.
tomorrow. Maybe stronger tomorrow, he says. Yeah.
right.
So he wants to get in there. And then Noah is now hit with the fact that like, oh, geez, my tribe is here, but like the spirit is gone. So because he's like, he wasn't prepared kind of for that reality. That some of them have kind of like half-heartedly just
accepted
kind of
their
given
fate.
in to Proximus. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So he wants to free his people, which is
It's like, no, we have
where
to
the
fight
similarities
back.
to war are. Yeah.
And
Um,
we get this great speech, this big speech moment of Proximus coming down. What a wonderful day, right?
Speak his
And
words. Yeah,
yeah,
You guys see Abigail this past year with Kevin Durant?
I did not.
no, I
Pretty
haven't seen
bad.
that.
Good? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
he's great
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
He is good in this. Yeah,
He shows he's a
Um,
charismatic leader. Like he does have. He's a good orator. He kind of has this presence. Like he feels kingly. Like he smells his
Yeah.
own farts, but like he has this charisma. You kind of get it.
yeah, and he claims to be. I don't know if he claims to be or he's like a spiritually related to Caesar, or if he's a direct descendant of Caesar, or that's part of his legend that he wants people to believe.
I
that
would
he's one of the
assume
direct
it's not
descendants
even
of
his
Caesar.
real name.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I think.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's
he
like
just took the name of Caesar and is like, yeah, I'm the new Caesar. I'm Proximus Caesar.
It's like I am emperor. God has chosen me. Duh. Of course he chose me because I'm emperor.
Yeah.
Isn't that proof enough? Like yes, I am Caesar.
Uh.
Duh. Yeah, I think it's like
Right. Kevin Durant, he's doing a great job. I preferred him when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kind of jumped the
Fair.
shark when he joined the Warriors. But
I liked when he was on the Guillermo del Toro show, The Strain, which was one of
The
those
Strain,
horrible TV shows that he's done. He's mainly a TV actor.
again, he plays villains a
basketball player.
lot. Yeah, he sort of was maybe typecast as a villain, or he's just a character actor that plays villains a lot. He's got a villainous
Mhm.
persona that he can do. He was in Lost, wasn't he?
Maybe.
Was he a
He was like one of the others.
extra villain too? I
Could
feel
he have
like
been
he
a Taily?
literally- Damn it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been a Taily. But
Taily.
I like this.
Another.
Yeah, and other. I like this conversation we have with Proximus at dinner though, and Trevathan and May, and it's like we're starting to see where like Trevathan is the old dude who's like, look, this is a pretty sweet gig. Like it's the 8th planet. It's never going back the way it was, and May is unable to accept that. And then at this point, kind of her and Noah are fighting for the same thing. Like she is fighting for the preservation of human culture, and Noah wants to fight for the preservation of Eagle Clan culture. And like, so they kind of have similar motivations. They're just on different sides of the conflict.
Absolutely. And to her viewpoint, Mike, it's so interesting to go back to coexistence as sort of the theme here, that what she is presented with is, I've seen my people, they are animals. I've seen the intelligence of my people, they are slaves. Our only option then would be dominance, would be to backslide towards this human belief that there is no coexistence. So again, it's doing such a good job of pointing us these POVs that these characters have.
And that's what's been taught to her. Again, she grew up in a bunker, presumably. Like, she learned this negative attitude because the surviving humans have shared trauma with the ape flu and everything, too. So there's a lot of moving pieces.
We sort of know where her mission is basically that Proximus cannot be allowed to have this human technology. And actually, it would be better to blow it up and destroy it rather than for him to get his hands on it.
Right. And she's also been
what
sent...
she's trying to do.
And she's trying to recover... There's like a...
Yeah, she's trying to recover
hard
the
drive
codes
or something
to have satellite communication, so they can communicate. The bunkers can communicate with other intelligent human settlements and stuff.
She's
in other
hacking into Elon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a similar plot to what in Rise or whatever at the Order Dawn, when we want to get the radio working to talk to just like another community a couple hundred miles away. Now we're like international, like they're talking across the country. So that's their goal, is to get communications up. And if I can blow up Proximus Caesar's stash of weapons on top of that, even better.
Yes. And by the way, Kevin Durant, he was in Lost. He played the military guy that comes in like the 4th season. Remember? Right. And he's like hired by...
Again, I've never seen Lost.
You've never seen Lost.
Can just be like, I was here the whole time.
Right.
No, he's like a bad guy that comes in and he's working for Charles Widmore, who's like this billionaire guy. He's trying to capture Ben Lyons in the 4th season. Becomes a primary antagonist in that season.
That's not at all what I view that show as being about at all. That's things you just said. That's so.
If you've only seen the 1st season, or if you've never seen it,
bring me Ben. Who did you say?
Linus.
Michael Emerson.
Like, yes, good.
He's one of the others.
Good.
The show Lost gets so much more confusing than, if you've never seen it, Con, then you would probably understand. It's not just a show about people surviving on an island.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of flash forwards, flashbacks.
It's got polar bears, a smoke
sideways.
Monster.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of mystery.
Once in my life, once or twice.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
But anyway, so yeah, he was in. Remember when he was in X-Men? He played the Blob.
Oh,
in
did
the
you call me Blob?
X-Men
We'll be following Kevin Durant then if we choose to do all the X-Men movies.
Right.
Wow.
But this is one of his better roles that I can remember him doing.
Yes, it is. I truly almost thought you meant the Blob, and I was about to say, what are you talking about? But yes, back to what we're talking about today. He is very good.
Proximus Caesar. Yeah.
Yep. But so now basically May hatches a plan to kind of trick Noah. She's like, look, all right, we want the same thing. You want to free your people? I got to get into this thingy. I'm smart. Yeah. Let's set some C4 on the thing and we'll do a mission. No.
She's not being completely honest with him still. And he still doesn't fully trust her because he's like, you're a human. You're not telling me everything. So yeah, they kind of work together, but they agree that they don't want Proximus to get his hands on this stuff.
Yes.
Right. Because Noah doesn't necessarily know what's in there per se, but he agrees to do the mission if it'll help free his people. So they do the big climb, they get in a back door, and we end up in the bunker. And
by the way,
more. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to mention earlier too, when he's listening to Proximus, his big speech, and he's talking about Caesar and stuff. And I like it when Noah says, "He is not Caesar," because he knows the true Caesar now.
That's right. That's right.
Mom's like, "Hey, don't say that too loud. Like, you don't want, the guards to hear you or whatever." But he knows, like, he has to stop Proximus because he's bad.
No, you're right. There is that nice beat where the bird flies over and he's like, "Oh, you're here just to taunt me." He's like, "Look, I can't do anything. Caesar's the law, Proximus." But then he pulls out the little Caesar icon and he's like, "No, the law is wrong." Yeah. And then the bird flies to him.
I like that the bird understood what he was saying. He's like, "You know what? I'm proud of you.
You've completed your arc, Noah. Yeah, good work."
Yeah.
Mike,
Your dad would respect you now.
Symbolically, that's what it
we're
means.
best friends, and I've always believed in you.
Mhm.
Mike, Owen Teague is doing such an amazing job, in my opinion, as Noah. I think he's a very good actor, underrated, kind of an instant discovery as a young man in a star-making role.
He was like
here.
the bully in It, right?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah,
To
but
me,
that was a
he's
pretty
from
small part.
He's from the Stand
From the
miniseries,
Maze
the
Runner.
bad CBS. Is
Oh,
he
he
from
loves
the
being
Maze
in-
Runner too?
No, I just assumed he might be. In
That would make so
smaller.
much sense.
I would not be shocked. Yeah,
Seems
if
like
wasn't.
he likes doing Stephen King adaptations, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But
He's in
that's
The
good.
Stand and It.
Again, might be why I like him. But question
yeah.
for you: how is our boy looking in the de-res version? Like, how much of that face is translating?
I was going to say, I've seen a picture of what he really looks like, and I think he sort of looks like a knockoff Austin Butler kind of guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But all the people generally, they will generally have the front facing camera that's like on an arm to capture the full facial performance. And he has like, 70 dots or whatever. And then it's just a gray and blue mocap suit. But what's interesting about that, small tangent, is because they have the facial capture, if they have an angle that they didn't quite like, if it's a CG set, they could get a different angle and just use the facial capture to put it wherever the model is. So they can kind of invent shots in post if they didn't like it on the day or change the angle of the character. Or they'll take 2 takes and sew them together, the performance thing, and put that on the ape model. So you can, like, if the first half of take A was better than the second half, you can just pick and choose and make one seamless shot with the different takes.
Yeah,
so.
That's crazy.
I was wondering how they do that. You know, when the apes like put their foreheads together, how do they do that with the front-facing camera?
That's when they'll remove the front-facing camera and have the hand like manually do the facial animation. It's a bit of a pain.
Wow.
I guess there's one shot, I'm not sure where they did bump into each other and their heads kind of shake, and they just left it in.
That's cool.
But yeah,
and
it's
the fucking falcons aren't real, right?
The falcons, I have to say, looked faker than the apes to me. Like the CGI wasn't totally believable there for me.
Birds are harder than apes.
Yeah.
We've got so many instances of CGI apes in movies.
That's true. They've had more practice with it, and that maybe it's a spoiler for the quiz. But yeah, there was no birds. But they did get practice with birds with the eagles in Lord of the Rings. It was not their first crack at it.
Right.
You know?
It would be hard to use real birds and train them to do what they need to do and things like
Especially
that.
Especially with mocap and stuff.
And not get freaked out by the mocap. It's like a bird flying around like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it would be pretty wild.
Lands on the front-facing camera. You're like, oh, hold on. Get down from there. Pecking at you.
Oh, yeah, no. We wouldn't do that. But
so they do their plan to get into the bunker or the silo or whatever. And they do get in, right? They turn on the electricity in there. And I like this scene where the apes discover a book, right? And then Noah's like, oh yeah, the symbols, they have meaning. And they're looking through this book, and it happens to be a book about kids seeing apes in a zoo. And they're like, wait a minute. They're all behind bars in these images, right? They just see the images of the apes behind bars. So I really like that scene too.
I mean, humans on the other side, and she's running around doing her own thing. She finds the stuff, finds the guns. But when she comes back into that room and they're looking at the book, you can just feel this, like, again, Colin, coexist. Like, can we really ever? Like that,
right?
They can't fully trust each other. And that scene is just really well set up for that.
Throwback story. I told the story on one of these episodes. Go back and listen about my Comic-Con experience where I went to that Planet of the Apes pop-up that was specifically in honor of this film's digital release at the time it was coming to Hulu. And I'll refresh you guys that the big question the lady asked was, why aren't there many props from the later movies that they'll be showing off today? And of course, no one answered, and she said, because they're digital. They're digital movies. There's not as many props. The only prop they had from this film was the circus book.
Wow. And even that circus book, they like digitally made it look even older because it didn't look old enough. Like, so even that prop is not necessarily screen accurate to what's in the movie because they even altered the book to make it look more moldy and stuff. But even the electric sticks are just random poles. Like, they don't have a practical one of those in the behind the scenes that I saw. Not like you would build one, but it's like not even one that looks like that shape. Yeah.
Yeah, like the hero one for close-ups too. Yeah,
that just doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah. When people don't realize how much modern movies use digital effects over real props anymore, even like MCU movies, you could be shooting a scene on a city street and it's really all blue screen when they could have been a practical location, So that's kind of just how it goes now.
Which that was interesting with these Apes movies is they do the mocap, but they're on location a lot. And so watching behind the scenes, they are on location like more often than you would think. Like they built that bunker like little set in the seawall. Like that was a real place,
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and like the bunker was like a parking lot somewhere in Australia. They filmed the whole thing in Australia. So like there's a lot of real locations still, but there's also a ton of CG extension and the main characters aren't real, therefore no real props. Like,
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. But back to the plotting.
So their plan is to they're gonna blow the seawall so that the water comes in and floods. They're gonna open the door, then they're gonna blow the seawall so the water comes in and floods all the machinery and technology in there so that Proximus can't get a hold of it, right?
Yep. So she gets the hard drive. Nobody saw this. She's on her own, so they don't know what she's up to. She gets what she wants, and then they're going to open the door. We see Caesar's mother, and then Proximus is like, psych.
What up? I'm here.
What up? Thanks for opening my vault.
Yeah.
He does call it my vault.
Ape, Noah.
His arm around him. It's really cool. Mm-hmm. He's like, great, you did it.
This is my favorite scene, probably. Is when he's like, Noah, you opened up my vault. You didn't think I knew you guys were up to something. So you were working with a human. Choose between a human or Suna.
Right.
Make your
this
choice.
Is where you should be like, I'm kind of into this human now.
Right. Right.
We also forgot to mention earlier when they're planning the secret mission at night, the Trevathan scene where Trevathan discovers.
Oh my God.
And May's like, look, join us. And you can come.
Ooh, I'm a cook. I'm a cook. I gotta stay a cook.
You guys are gonna get in trouble. And he's like about to walk away, and then May freaking chokes him out, kills him.
Yes.
Very reminiscent of War, where Caesar has to choke out that the one gorilla to keep him quiet. Remember that?
Blue, or red gorilla or whatever his name.
Or white, the snow.
Winter.
Snowy.
Winter.
Yeah, winter.
Yeah, he's the albino gorilla.
This is an important scene to show us what she's capable of, and especially because we didn't talk about it, but when they're exploring this little place, she also steals a gun. She's got this little setup too. She's make yourself more dangerous. And Mike, this is also my favorite scene, but specifically my favorite moment is when fires the gun and Proximus Caesar pulls another ape in front of him and just like, he keeps like really scared, sort of like, oh no,
behind all the other apes.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So he's got one of his generals has like a knife to Suna's throat. And he's like, okay, choose human or ape. And then right when shit's about to get bad, we hear a gunshot, and that ape with the knife gets shot and dies, and then it's May with the gun.
No, and this look of wonder from Proximus, where he's like so excited about it, he couldn't care about his journey. He's like, "Look, May, you can go, but are there more of those? Because that is sick.
So good.
It's the best look.
It's like, he really should not be having guns." Which is kind of funny because like May, she should have just shot Proximus, right? When she had the chance, she could have shot Proximus instead of this other random ape that's about to kill Suna or whatever.
Maybe shows she does have some affinity for Noah, some feeling of friendship to save his girl or whatever. But she could have shot Proximus.
It shows who she's a descendant of. Give me a gun and 100 bullets.
Yeah.
Humans love guns.
I don't think they show her pulling the gun out either. They show her opening the cabinet, and then we cut away. So it kind of comes as a surprise when she actually fires it.
Yeah, and we see a lot of rifles and stuff inside the bunker, so we know there's a bunch of guns in there.
Yep, and we see the tanks and everything.
Yeah.
But
then she's like,
Proximus
you know what? Proximus is like, I need those guns, baby.
You can go, actually. It's chill, man. I don't care. Get out of here.
But then May knows what she has to do. She's like, I'm sorry, I have to do this. Runs over to the explosives, sets off the charge, which causes a big flood of water to come in to the bunker. And this is when we get our big climactic action scene, right? With the water flooding in.
Yeah, and this well, let me just say quickly thematically, like what she has to do with Trevathan. That's the first time our ape heroes see human can kill human, and then they also
Yeah.
see illustrated human will kill ape. They see both
Right.
things firsthand through her actions, which again is can we coexist?
Right.
Can anybody
Right.
coexist?
Human got to
Um,
do what human got to do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, 50
Kinda.
Sometimes you got
bullets
to
and a
kill an
horse,
ape.
baby. Yeah. But this seawall breaks. Yeah, and this whole siege, this fight, this big action set piece of all the apes trying to climb up the tower before it floods, and he's kind of fighting Silva during this stuff. This is all CG, and it looks
That's awesome.
incredible. The water on the
Yeah.
fur, like it is crazy. I mean, they do some motion
Right.
capture, like they're on the volume pushing through fake pipes or whatever. But like the
Yeah.
environment, it's full CG this thing, and it looks great.
And he sort of outsmarts Silva, the gorilla, and
He gets stuck. He's a
traps
big
him. He's
boy.
like, "Oh, I'm too
Yeah,
big. I can't get through these pipes." And
forces
Noah's
him
like,
to drown. But
"Yeah,
the
which
red
he
lights
deserves."
flashing, the water on their fur, like this looks incredible. Like this is why I wanted to win the Oscar. Like how do you take it this far? The entire environment is fake. Nothing in those shots is real, but I buy into it. Um,
Right.
I don't know. I love this sequence.
Yeah. If only Dune Part 2 didn't come out the same year.
I know. That
Yeah, you're
sandworm's
not
pretty
thinking
cool.
about the fucking Shul Hadid, my
I'm not.
Yeah.
I
Shai
gotta drink
Hulud.
some worm juice.
Shai Halud.
I
Yeah.
got some worm juice in the
Um,
fridge actually.
but
Um,
yeah, this is a great action scene. And yeah, they're trying to escape the flood. And eventually, of course, Noah comes out. All the apes are kind of gathered around. And we get our final confrontation with Proximus. Proximus
What is?
versus Noah.
Can you guys do what they do? The call.
oh, it's
What
like a
what is
Oh
it?
yeah, they do the bird call.
that's the
right?
bird singing.
Start singing. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Ooh.
No,
Yeah, I don't know what they say.
Ooh.
Essentially, what their tribe has
It's so badass.
of
Mhm.
like they train the birds with these songs, and they kind of have control over the birds. They can make the bird attack Proximus, and so it's
Right.
all the tribe members of the Eagle Clan, right?
People fucking make fun of that fucking Guardians of the Galaxy ends with the fucking dance off, right? When it's this like clever
me, I like it.
payoff I like it. It's a clever
Mhm.
payoff moment. They literally have the conversation with Gamora earlier where she's like, we don't dance, humans dance, right? And it's this whole tactic that he's using to confuse his enemy. And this instead, the fact that the middle of a fight ends with our hero standing up, bloody and beaten, and just deciding to sing a song to his enemy.
Yeah.
It is so touching and beautifully done. It's the same process to me where I'm like, it's so fucking earned. Like it might
Right.
be silly, but it's such a good payoff moment.
And
No.
he's taking a leadership position of his tribe because the rest of the clan starts doing the same thing. Proximus is kind of like laughing. He doesn't know what to make of it. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. And Proximus is just trying to make an example of him. Like, we're gonna beat the shit out of you, and you're gonna bend your head in front of everybody. The
Right.
bending of your head is a big deal in this movie. He's like, you know,
You'd
you're gonna
think they would just
submit.
have like a one-on-one fight,
Right.
but Noah uses his clan's special
All
ability
the
of controlling birds. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, recognize my culture. This is what makes us us. It's a great beat.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
It is.
reclaim
it ties
their
it all
identity.
together with the bird stuff because I like the bird stuff overall, but like the beginning, it's like the whole finding the eggs and stuff. Like I love all that, but it's like, does it really pay off with the eggs? Because obviously his egg breaks,
Mhm.
but then the payoff is him finally earning the respect of his father's bird, who didn't respect him. Like his father, like he essentially winning the respect of this bird is like winning the respect of his father, of course.
Mhm.
And stepping up, taking that leadership position within the clan, and being like, I am my father's son. And yeah,
And the
I
last
had
thing
a
he told his
thought-
father is, "I'm going to get him back." He thought
Yeah.
he failed because he
Yes.
lost him to Proximus. So yeah, it's full
Right.
circle.
I'm gonna get the family back. I had a thought. I'm curious. Tell me if this is bad or not. It very well could be. Does this movie work as well or make more thematic sense or tie into the series if what they're doing is raising horses? If they're the first clan that uses horses,
I
like
wouldn't
has
say so, 'cause I think
domesticated
Hmm.
even in Caesar's time, they had horses.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I think
Yeah.
all the clans have horses. Like Proximus's people ride horses. So
Yeah.
Raka's people ride horses. I too keep a
Yeah.
horse.
It's just it's so weird that there's no 70s movie where they're like, and of course our series of birds.
Right. Again, I like that twist because
I like that angle of it. Yeah, it kind of makes it unique and original to have this falconry angle.
Humans would have learned dogs, but they're like in trees. Yeah, I love that. It's like, oh, birds, we're in trees. I kind of get what they're about. Yeah.
But I like to imagine that there are other clans with their own kind of special theme. So maybe there is a clan that's like the horse clan, and they're like they have like really good horses or something.
They're
they
the
just care for the horses.
Rohirrim
really well.
of apes.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
No, what that it hints at this greater world of ape culture, and I love that. Like, what's Raka's group? They're this kind of spiritual based group, and then we have Proximus and the Eagle Clan.
Got a bunch of cats.
Yep. Oh, the Cat Clan. Yes. But yeah, the singing. He gets the Eagles take Proximus off the cliff, and then he's like, "All right, we're going home," and he takes the tribe back to their homeland, and there we will rebuild.
Yeah. So we get this final scene with May and Noah, where they're like, "Can humans and apes coexist?"
She's dressed like Princess Leia in one of the later movies, basically, where she's like the rebel commander.
Yeah. It's not too far away from like a Zelda smock.
Yep.
She could get a Zelda.
Quick, cameo from Daikon Latchme. What is her name? The woman from Severance, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes. Deacon Lockman. Yeah. And she was also in a bad Jurassic Park movie, but that's neither here nor there.
That's right.
Yeah, she's been in some stuff.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's got a horrible arc as the lead character's mother.
She was in the show
Severance,
Dollhouse, the Joss Whedon show. Did you ever watch that? Dollhouse?
Mm-mm.
With Eliza Dushku.
We've talked about this. We joke. I almost made the joke earlier that Mai at one point is like, "Ha, you guys in your crazy Caesar religion," and she pulls out her Alpha Omega bomb and says a prayer to it or whatever. But
she's a descendant of Woody Harrelson.
Is she a mutant? Is she? What are these people?
No, I assume so. During the time of like war, like some human colonies or settlements are deciding let's go underground and become a bunker. I feel like that is taken from the originals, but like maybe the more silly stuff like being mutants and having mind control powers and stuff, they're like, that's a little too silly for this.
Well, it's interesting that Mai pretends not to talk, but then she just keeps saying "you betcha" and wearing her blue jumpsuit with a number on it, and she's got what did she call it, a Pip Boy? What is that?
Yeah, she says okie dokie.
She says that's right, she says okie dokie, Mike. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's what I'm wondering, because I watched this twice, for this, and when she goes to deliver the thing, the character's name is Karina, but it's never said. But Deacon Lockman, she's in a hazmat suit to get the hard drive, but May never goes in that bunker. She stays outside. So is there a group of humans that are like immune, but the bunker people don't want them to contaminate the bunker because she doesn't go inside? Does she live there?
You might never be allowed back, Mike. That might be the trade-off.
Right. So that's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, maybe that'll be expanded on in the sequels, and we'll find out more about what the humans have been up to.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're on again. Can we trust each other? She brings that thing to the meeting. She's hiding it behind her back, but it's like she brings the gun to.
Right. She's still not fully trusting Noah and the apes. She's like, "Look, I got that thing on me. Like, if I have to use it, I will."
They said there's other versions of that where she like explicitly pulls it out and like then decides not to shoot him, but they like in the edit they found that and I like this version of the scene best.
Yeah,
where it's
that would be
subtle.
bad.
Yeah. I thought they should have had like a goodbye kiss where they're like,
"You're really pushing this narrative.
Let's make this happen."
Okay. Ugly eyes.
Look, and then they have the first human ape child, half human, half ape, and they bring this cultures together.
They name it Milo.
It's like a really weird looking half human, half ape.
Nova.
Georgie's home.
Of course, we'll have to kill it.
There was a scrap Jurassic Park concept where they were going to have human dinosaur hybrids. It's kind of like that.
Look, that's not worse than what Colin wanted that little raptor to start talking.
I just want one scene where he says, "I'm gonna get you."
Get your hands off me, damn dirty human.
It made so much sense at the time.
Yeah. They should have had a love angle here with Noah and May.
I agree.
Well, we'll see where it goes because we do get a
sequel.
And that's what I guess I want to ask. Do you want May's arc to continue in the next movie? Obviously, it's going to follow up Noah, but is that what happens?
I kind of don't need to see these characters again. I could kind of do another time jump.
Wow.
I don't think it'll be another time jump because I think they said they want to do a trilogy revolving around these characters, I guess. So I think Noah and the other apes should be back. I think May should not come back because it follows the tradition of there being different human characters in each one of these movies. Like the three Caesars, you have different human characters in each one. They don't carry over. And I feel like that's maybe how but I guess because you're expanding upon like the human lore of like these communities and bunkers, maybe May does come back. But I don't know.
Now you said you do want James Franco to come back and for it to be revealed that he's been cryogenically
he's been alive this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he went up on that spaceship.
Your dad's
in Alien
not
Covenant.
sick anymore. Yeah. He comes down from space, Mike.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they said in an interview, Wes Ball is like, I want us to get closer to what society looked like when Charlton Heston landed, but I never want to remake that. I want to walk right up to like the moment before Charlton Heston shows up. So we're getting to where
cool if
more feral humans, less normal humans, etc.
Think about this. The next movie, or maybe the third movie in the trilogy, starts with we see a human perspective, astronauts crash land on Earth, and then we slowly reveal the state of the world through their eyes. So we do a similar reference to these astronauts, and they're just learning about the smart apes and all this stuff, and then they come across Noah's clan or something like that.
Noah wears clothes now.
Because they did set up that there was like the Mars mission or the space mission or whatever in Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
Because what we enjoy about this is stuff that's hardly... It's there, but it's pretty much in the background. It's the thought of Caesar's teaching and how do they evolve and how do we get to where we have the lawgiver and a church and like that status quo of the 1968 film. How do we get closer to that in the next three movies is what I want more of. Like I wanted to see a blackboard in Noah's thing with the Caesar teachings on it or something.
It's still a more primitive culture than what we see in that first movie of Apes where they have guns and a society where they have different things that these apes don't quite have yet.
I just wanted to hammer the teachings of Caesar as a more important driving factor for Noah. Like I wanted him to be teaching apes about the true Caesar and have like an insurrection of apes against Proximus. Like
that's where
he's twisting the doctrine. There wasn't enough of that as like the plot.
Right.
But maybe they want to do a.
Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember in Rise of Star Wars, that last movie, where Kylo Ren needs to get his helmet worked on, and it just cuts to a black gorilla that's a blacksmith, and he's just like fixing his helmet. Do you guys remember that moment?
No, I don't.
I
barely remember anything from that movie.
I need this franchise to have like an orangutan blacksmith. Like I need us to at least hit that history level, in my opinion.
I think there would be blacksmiths and stuff because you got to have horseshoes and stuff for your horses, right? So it should be like a medieval society where you have it's sort of one-to-one with like medieval societies of humans.
Well, they have guns. Like we have human guns that still remain. Yeah. They still function, and it's like this is the closest analogy I can think of. It's like when the Dutch sold guns to the Japanese in like the feudal samurai days, it was just swords. And then they were like, oh shit, we could probably figure out how to make this. And then they reverse engineered it and they just started making their own guns. But that is still blacksmithing.
Cannons,
yeah, but they could reverse engineer the human guns. Yeah, the apes could figure it out. Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot more to talk. We've certainly got some final thoughts to put together. But first, we're going to run over to a quiz because, Mike, you got another one for us.
Yes, the kingdom of the planet of the quiz. You quizzed it up, you maniacs. You quizzed it all to hell. We're back at it again right after this.
We're back. Here are Normies like us. And Mike, you just said it. We're about to kick off the kingdom of the planet of the quiz.
That's right. Ape shall never quiz ape, except on special episodes like this. Those of you who are familiar with this format, it's true or false questions. We'll tally the score. You hold up one finger for true, two fingers for false. If you're just listening, you're going to have to take our word for it. And I will keep score on this whiteboard. I guess without further ado, shall we kick off the quiz?
No.
We don't utter negative imperatives on this show. Okay?
That's right. I'm ready to win.
So, question number 1. Weta Workshop did special effects, obviously, for Avatar: The Way of Water and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. However, the data required to make Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes exceeded the amount of data required for Avatar: Way of Water. So,
Oh shit.
Okay.
True or false?
I'm locked in.
All right. 3, 2, 1, reveal.
I say false.
All right, Colin, it's true. Colin gets a point.
What?
Jacob.
Here's my thought. Here's
theory.
my thought on that. It's as complex of a world, Jacob. Yes, there's water. Yes, there's leaves and forests and shit. But ape fur is harder than blue fur, which looks smoother.
Yeah.
I think that's that's crazy to me because you have a whole alien planet of Pandora. You have, of course, all the stuff they do for like the 3D of it all, and like Big Jim C out there, he's doing his thing, So
no, he is
that
doing
does
it.
surprise me.
Well, there's one sequence in this. I think it's the final sequence where the water's going through the tower. That was like 10 to 11 petabytes by itself, and all of Avatar was 18.5. And you think of a
First Avatar
simulation
or The Way of Water?
Way of Water.
That's interesting. Yeah, The Way of Water has so much like action, water stuff, all kinds of stuff. So
what it comes down to is the simulation data. All of the apes have over 1 million individual hairs, and then interacting with water and light. Like, it's a lot of simulation number crunching for this kind of thing.
There's a lot of underwater scenes and stuff in The Way of Water, and
but smooth blue skin is easier than fur.
I guess.
And it's blue on blue.
Yeah. It's just the number of calculations for 1 million hairs getting hit by drops of water.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's shocking to me too, but anyway, it is true, believe it or not. But I have question 2, if we want to keep rolling.
Let's do it.
Actually, I'm going to jump on that topic to this question instead. This film features 33 minutes of fully CGI footage, which is a series high up to this point. The most total amount of full CG. True or false?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
True.
All right. You both get a point. It is true. That's why it had so much data. 33 minutes of 2 hours and 25 minutes is fully CG, which means almost 2 hours of this thing is still shot on location or partial sets, so it's still pretty sweet. Yeah. Question number 3. Proximus is Latin for near, which means Proximus Caesar literally means near Caesar or close to Caesar.
Okay,
true or false?
I'm ready.
Locked in.
3, 2, 1, reveal. True.
True.
Guess what? I tricked you guys.
You tricked me. Well, it's going to be some technicality where it doesn't mean near, it means close to or something.
It means next. So his name is Next Caesar.
For me, it makes me think
sequentially.
Of Proximus, approximate, proximity.
Approximately Caesar.
To me, I think, he's approximately Caesar. He's trying to replicate who Caesar was, essentially.
Right, but he is considering the next, as in a line of succession. I am the next Caesar. Yes.
Yeah.
But I just tried to trick you guys. Sometimes it's hard to make false questions because the trivia is always
Classic
like,
trick.
this is a true fact.
I know that
so
from,
classic
doing
trick.
the Star Treks and everything. I know it can be really hard to do the falses, for sure.
Right. But I have another question here. This will be question 4.
Ready.
Due to only appearing in a couple shots in the opening of the film, Karen Conoval did not return to reprise Maurice the orangutan in this film, marking the first time she would not play Maurice in the franchise. True or false?
Okay, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, reveal.
False. She'd never break my heart like that.
I'm so happy that you guys got it right. It is false. She was there.
Yeah,
I do not know if
Rocket
Terry Notary played Rocket, though.
I think both their cameos in the beginning are Terry Notary and Karen Conoval, I believe, but I'm not.
That's great. Yeah.
On that. Yeah.
I would assume Terry came back, but I couldn't get a full confirm, so I just kept it with Karen. But good work.
It just, having watched these movies for a year, it just meant so much to me when we got a cutaway to our heroes' best friends that I was like, yeah, this is great.
What a journey we've been on with them. I love it. Yeah. So, question 5, though. Freya Allen told the Hollywood Reporter that it was too tedious to wash off all the dirt makeup every day and eventually stopped washing it off and just kept the makeup on for most of the 6-month shoot. True or false?
All right.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in.
3, 2, 1, reveal.
I'll say
I'll
true.
say true.
You guys both get a point. It is true.
Wow.
She told the Hollywood Reporter that it was kind of too much hassle to wash it off just to put it on the next day. And she said, yeah, her sheets, quote, looked hideous. And then when she would go to the beach on the weekends and her feet were like black from all the dirt and she would be like really self-conscious to be outside.
Yeah,
But
see, that's
too lazy.
true. That's a story I don't believe for even a second. That is one of those stories that an actor loves to say where they're like, actually, I had to keep talking like Abraham Lincoln the whole time, where you're like, no, you didn't.
That is a little bit of an interview circuit. Like, yeah, this one's going to kill. Yeah. But that's what she said.
Do you think she liked making this movie better or making The Witcher better?
Ooh, that...
Geralt of Rivia.
I think she's not getting cyberbullied if she's playing the female in the Planet of the Apes.
Probably tired of people telling her that The Witcher is woke now and they don't like it.
Keep calling her a gamer girl, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But of course, she worked with Henry Cavill. Now, not Henry Cavill, the other dude.
Liam
Hemsworth.
Liam Cavill.
One of the Hemsworths. Yeah.
That's right.
It's crazy that show is still actually going, though. Like that's
Netflix will cancel anything.
I find it crazy that wasn't canceled like 2 seasons ago. But
yeah. Anyways, question 6. This is the first film in the modern Planet of the Apes series without any involvement from Andy Serkis, as he wanted the filmmakers to have their own voice and identity. True or false?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, reveal.
True.
Wow, got you both. It's false. He was doing consultants during primarily the ape school portion to help the actors find the physicality in their characters. Because, that's big shoes to fill. I would want Caesar to tell me how to be an ape. You know, if I was Owen Teague, please teach me, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's the best.
That was the hardest question, Mike. I really had to think on that one.
But so it still has a little bit of his lineage. Caesar's, I guess, the shadow of Caesar still looms over the series. 7. This one, you guys...
He was too busy filming Andor.
No, Carnage. He's doing Carnage.
It's the Batman in it.
On program.
He's doing a lot of things.
Yeah, he is.
All right, next question.
This one you guys know because we kind of talked about it, but I ask it anyway. Despite the prominent usage of birds of prey in the film, there are no real birds ever used during the filming. True or false?
Okay. I would have guessed true anyways.
Colin, I figured.
But none? That's
not
so
a single
I
shot
tell when I saw
has
the
a real
birds
bird
flying and the way they move their head and stuff. I was like, that kind of looks CGI. It's not terrible, but I thought, it's probably not real birds.
Right. Even
we didn't use real birds. We used drones.
Yeah, when I watch the special effects cut, they're just holding their arm up. There's no birds anywhere, not even like puppet of bird that I saw. Right. So
he's just pretending to get pecked at.
Yeah, just pretending. I mean, I didn't remember that exact shot. Maybe they flung a little stick at him or something. But yeah, he was just pretending, I believe. But yeah,
it's on.
Question 8. Wes Ball described his outline for this film as Star Wars: A New Hope, but with apes. An ambitious youth loses their family to a terrible empire, meets a wizard in a cave who guides them, and later dies at the hands of the Empire princess that must be rescued, and someone who ends up joining the super facility of the key villain. True or false?
Well, okay. I'm locked in.
I'm locked in.
3, 2, 1, reveal.
Seems true to me.
Nope, I made that all up.
Wow.
What he did say
good,
is...
Mike.
Thank you. I put all that together myself. He says he pitched it as Apocalypto, but with apes.
Oh, I think get out of your ass, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
I think where's the Han Solo character? That's what I would say. Like if it was Star Wars.
True. True. We don't have a Han Solo.
Yeah, that is true. That's Leviathan. Yeah. Well, I would argue. I would argue it's Maya.
Maya?
Yeah, and then either way, I just kind of pulled that up. But I thought the wizard in a cave was really good.
Whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Obi-Wan. Anyway.
Yeah.
Question 9.
About the Jedi, aka Caesar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your father fought with Caesar in the Omega Wars.
The Ape Wars.
That's right.
Wrong with midi-chlorians you are.
Nice.
What does that mean? What are you talking about?
All right. Number 9. Almost all the apes in the film have names that end in A. Noah, Anaya, Raka, Soka, Silva. And is a nod to the fact that the planet has truly become a planet of apes. True or false?
Okay.
All right.
His name is Proxima Caesar.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1 reveal.
False.
I say false.
Yeah, I just made that up because a lot of them did end in A.
That's
nice try.
Yeah.
I thought it's confusing when when we think of Nova, because you have Noah and you have Nova. So I think those are too similar. Of course, her name is not actually Nova, but I was like Noah and Nova. Like I wonder why.
There's also, I only noticed this with subtitles to shout out creator of One Piece, my favorite thing ever, Oda. They keep saying Oda will take the Echo's clothes away.
Yeah, that's
Oda.
a Japanese name.
Like Oda,
right.
Noah, Nova. Those are all way too close.
Yeah, Oda, Noah, Nova.
I guess that's how the apes, they just come up with random syllables to name people in ape
I like
society.
that a lot of the Eagle Clan, their names did end in A, and I was like, maybe that's a cultural thing. Like in the Rohirrim, they have Eomer, Eowyn, right? Like in Lord of the Rings. But then Silva had an A, and I'm like, well, that throws my theory out, so I don't really know. And then his mom is named Dar, so that doesn't follow the theme.
You guys remember when that guy on a dragon says, no man shall ever kill me, and Noah takes his helmet off and says, I am no man, I'm an ape?
I love that. Yep, I am no man.
So crazy. It's the craziest moment of this whole movie.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And
so wait, who's winning?
No
right
ape
now
can kill me, and then the bird shows up and says, I am no ape. Right now, Colin has 6, you have 5. Colin is winning by 1. And I have one more question.
Okay.
So here we go. This is a zinger. Number 10. There are indeed topless female feral humans in the final cut of the film. True or false?
Okay, see, this is what I wanted. I want all the humans to be naked.
I had to hide this from you. All right. Ready?
Yes.
All right. 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Not a chance.
False.
Well,
I say.
Let me tell you.
I should have said true. That's true.
It is true.
Isn't
but there's an asterisk. According to the commentary on the raw cut that I watched, Wes Ball says there are topless female humans in the film, but their hair is covering everything for family-friendly effect. But he's like, they were there and they were topless.
Again, I think it would make the most sense if all the feral humans didn't wear clothes at all, because they have no concept of clothes or shame at covering themselves.
This isn't the first time that has been pitched in an Apes movie, the idea that the humans should be naked. Like, that has been an idea. It's just hard to make a movie like that.
Yeah.
It's a classic splash situation. Daryl Hannah in a Disney movie with hair covering her boobs.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. They just let the hair hang over. Disney will prove it.
Okay. I should have said true so I could have tied it up with Colin. But
it was your dream, and it was real. And so now Colin is the victor.
Too good.
My real dream.
There's no bonus question?
No, I this one was hard to make questions for, honestly, because
that's fair.
It's newer,
It's newer, and I've mined kind of the general stuff for the other ones. So but that's Colin is the king.
Did this one have we've pointed out a couple, I guess, the Lawgivers, something like that. Were there any super deep cut references to the other movies that we missed out on? Not
a deep cut, but the baby doll is the same sound effect. The mama,
yeah.
Right, mama.
Mm-hmm. They cut that out of these stems.
And then was Fort Wayne, Indiana? Wasn't that a reference to?
Oh, that's where he's from. That's where he says
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Right.
That's where they call it the end, right? Yeah. So we get Fort Wayne.
Even your lies, there's truth. He says he's from a fort.
That's so good. Yeah. What good writing, man! Just something so simple.
Here's the thing. Let's move into final thoughts here. On this entire franchise and everything we've covered here, as we're talking Apes here on Normies Like Us. We're back here on Normies Like Us, where again we're wrapping things up. We're talking Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but we're giving our final thoughts not just on that film. I started to want to say that I want to give some final thoughts here on all these ape films we've watched. Are we going to do our rankings on this one, or are we going to wait till King Kong? We did include Galaxy Quest with Star Trek, for what it's worth.
Fair. I would wait till King
Sure.
Kong because I have not done mine yet.
I did make a
full transparency
on Letterbox, so I'm ready.
We could ask in the modern
so.
series, where do you place this one? I think is a fair question.
That's interesting. What I was going to say, though, was kind of my overarching final thoughts is I have loved these new ones. Those have been a great rediscovery for me because obviously those were the ones I was much more familiar with. But unlike a lot of our long form series where sometimes I've watched those films, The Hobbits, and never come back to them, I could rewatch the early Planet of the Apes this week and be very happy. And I hate to say it, guys. But the thing that I've missed the entire time, and I think the one thing that makes these films work, a guy named Taylor. It's a guy named Charlton Heston who's severely missing from these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a maniac.
We need a maniac for these films to work.
Westball, get a maniac in the next
Taylor,
one.
Yeah.
Brent.
No fucking, he's Brent. Like Ezra Miller is the star of the next movie. You'd be like, whoa, that's crazy.
I want Willem Dafoe on an ape purge crusade. Yeah,
I'm a bit of an ape myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Evolution.
Well, we should say so. Yes, our bonus episode next month will be Peter Jackson's King Kong, starring Andy Serkis as King Kong.
Starring Andy Serkis as King Kong.
Yeah, his first entry into ape.
And I also want to say, Stumpy is
the chef.
Stumpy. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
His first live action role. Yeah.
That's right.
Of course, we got Adrian Brody, we got Jack Black, we got
Naomi Watts.
Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
Incredible. We get Coach Eric Taylor, Kyle Chandler.
That's right.
And
bit of a brutalist itself in that there is architecture featured prominently as a gorilla scales it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering about this. Where am I going to watch this? Because I don't think it's on any streaming services right now. And here's the crazy thing. Here's the funny thing to me. I own this movie on DVD. I had the box set that I bought in the 2000s. And here's the sad thing about it. I own so many DVDs that I bought in the 2000s. And I don't own a DVD player. I don't have a way that I can play DVDs.
You have a PS4?
I don't have a PS4.
Go to Goodwill. You get one for $5.
Yeah.
I have an Xbox 360. I guess I could hook that up.
I have so many 4K Blu-ray players in my house, literally hooked up to maybe every one of my TVs.
That's awesome.
That's the crazy thing about this modern society that we live in. I have all these DVDs, and I have no way to play them to my TV.
Well, you've been living down in that bunker.
Here's the thing, though, because this is the point that Raka brings up. He's like, these ideas are in the pages, right? Like physical media, baby. If everything's in the cloud, you're not watching shit when it's ape time. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like books, you can always read a book. You don't need a special device to play a book. A book will always last unless it's destroyed. A DVD, if you don't have the specific thing that can play a DVD or a VHS or any of these old physical medias, then it's, you have no way to play it. So it is interesting that we live in a streaming society now. We don't need DVD players, but I don't own a DVD player, and it's crazy to me that I don't. But I guess
wild
now that I think of it, I can hook up the
But like you said, in this movie when they're in the bunker and Noah picks up that DVD of We Bought a Zoo and puts it in, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And they watch the whole movie.
Oh man. If they get to that point, I mean, we had Roddy McDowell watching a film reel. They could have thrown anything on there. It's not just a
truly the best when he watches his mom get drunk. Who made that movie?
That's one of the best ones. But what if they would have thrown on something else?
Yeah, but I do own King Kong box set with the extended edition, which is 3 hours long or some
extended commentary.
A ton of extras like the Lord of the Rings, and that's one of my go-to DVDs when I was growing up in the 2000s. I would love to put on the special features from that DVD. So
can you imagine the king shit? You win Best Picture for the greatest book adaptation of all time, and they're like, "What's your next movie?" And he's like, "Fucking King Kong."
Yeah.
He's a big King Kong nerd. He loves it. But that's a good point,
classic
actually.
Hollywood. Yeah.
No, RKO 1934 or something like that. But Yeah, the special features on physical media. That's how I was able to watch the raw cut. Like you can't watch that on any streaming services. Like
No.
Right.
it was a
I love that
throwback to the golden
idea of
era.
doing that. Like I said, I would love to watch like Avatar Way of Water version like that.
Hmm.
Mad Max, like any of these movies. Like it'd be so interesting to
Yeah.
see the no effects, like raw cut to see how they do it all.
Even just to see where there were set extensions, like it was a set, but then there's like embellishment, like everything like that is just really interesting. They were adding trees into the background because they didn't have enough trees. It's like you would never think about
Right.
that, but they're doing a lot of this kind of invisible work that was really cool
Yeah.
to see in this movie. But looking forward to King Kong. I will tell my personal stories on that when we get to it. But I love that movie as well.
Absolutely.
We almost got in that fight in that theater when you were watching.
Mm-hmm. I have a statue of when he's fighting the dinosaurs. I love the video game. I'll get into all of it when we
Oh
get
yeah,
there.
dude, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
that'll be great. I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to revisiting that. That'll be at the end of March. But this is the end of our journey with the planet of the
Mm-hmm.
Kingdom of the Apes, or the Planet of the Apes, you might say. And what a journey it's been.
Yeah, so I want to ask Owen Teague, right? He steps into some pretty big shoes. How is Noah
Yeah.
in this movie? He's not
Well, it's
Caesar,
not over
but
because
yeah,
knowing that there will be sequels to this movie, I'm happy that the franchise is not over and will
It did
continue
okay,
on.
right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it did pretty well at the box office. Yeah.
I'll check. I would love to see the continuation of Noah's story. It feels like he went through his Dawn and Rise arc, like where he got to see kind of the levels of violence that could be enacted on ape to another ape, on human to ape, and he kind of came into his own and has a grounded understanding of the harsh
Maybe
realities.
the next one will be not a long time jump, but a short time jump, so we get an older Noah, an older, wiser leader Noah, and then we get some new characters and stuff.
Yeah, it can't be too similar to I mean, I guess it could be like just another see him in his journey of being a leader, but I don't want it to be exactly like Caesar.
Yeah,
right.
As fucking Kate Winslet as a 60-year-old May, that would be awesome.
Oh wow, actually, you know what? Yeah, sign me up. But yeah, I think these have been great. I don't know. It's hard to place this one because I miss Andy Serkis, but I also like what it's doing and I want to see where it's going. So I like it more than the first one. Yeah, it could be second best on any given day. Flip flop.
To me, as much as I like it, I would probably put War and Dawn a little bit above it, just because I love Caesar so much. I love Andy Serkis and Matt Reeves, but I think this is a worthy successor in the line of this franchise. And again, a director I wasn't that familiar with, bunch of new actors and stuff. So going in, I was like, "There's no way this can be as good as the last two." But I think it actually does. It surprised me in how good it actually was. So
total surprise.
Yeah. And building on everything, in Dawn we have the full CG fight with Koba and Caesar, and that's like incredible spectacle. And then they up the ante with this flooding scene with dozens of apes and all the fur and the effects, and it's like the technology, I just can't praise it enough, especially watching the raw cut. Like that really convinced me. I want them to win the Oscar. I know Dune 2 is great, but this company, for the work on the apes, they deserve the flowers. They should have won at least one of the other times. So I think it's just about time.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but I mean, I'll just say, like, if Dune Part 1 won, then how is Dune Part 2 not going to win? You know what I mean?
You already got one, Dune. Chill out.
Yeah. But it's like Return of the King. Like, of course, it's now they're going to be making a Dune Part 3, so I guess it's not the last one, but I mean, it's more visually impressive than Dune Part 1. So I would say it's got to win.
Here's what I go Kingdom, then I go War, Dawn, Rise. This is my favorite. I love the adventure. I put it above the Caesar trilogy. And my main takeaway from doing this podcast is next time I watch it, I'm going to watch the no effects version. So
I've watched it with commentary. I think that was the best way. I mean, for what I wanted from it was to learn about the process. I wonder how it would be watching it with the original audio track, because I didn't do that. But it is fascinating.
So Colin, essentially, your order is reverse chronological order, where you like the newest one the best, and you like the oldest one the worst. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah. And this is our first Disney one, and so where you could be like alarmed on the announcement, like, oh, it's going to be shitty. Disney's running it. They did a good job, and if they just stay out of West Ball's way, just keep the train rolling. And this franchise, I guess, is my final thoughts here. It's incredible, like how relevant it is from the 1968 one through the goofy ones, like Fox almost going underwater, a reboot that no one really asked for that was way better than it ever deserved to be. All three of those movies getting increasingly better quality wise and narratively. And how do they do it? Yeah.
Right. And that was like what, 20th Century Fox?
Yeah. It was Fox all the way until now.
I think 200th Century Fox, isn't that what it was?
yeah.
So I like it. So it's like X-Men where Disney's now taking it over. And I have more faith really in Disney than I would have in Fox. So I'm not surprised that it's pretty good because
the next Deadpool movie is Deadpool, Wolverine, and Caesar.
Deadpool, Wolverine, and the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. That'll be the next step. Caesar in the MCU. With the multiverse saga, one of the multiverses is the Planet of the Apes, of course.
Honestly, I think that's happened to Marvel.
Captain Ape America.
Yeah. But yeah, way to go, Planet of the Apes. Colin said, like, there's a lot of these rewatches we do. I don't go back and rewatch them, but the Apes movies, they stand the test of time. This weird little thing. Somehow they're like still relevant and still good, and I love that about them. It's one of the best sci-fi series. It's a better cinematic series than the Star Trek movies as a whole, I would say.
I don't know if I would totally agree with you there, but I would still,
that's my position.
What's my just personally, what's your favorite long form series we've done? I think this is up there with Star Trek, but I might still put Star Trek a little ahead just personally because I like just Star Trek a lot. So, and you get the Next Generation movies, which mostly aren't very good, but I still, like that cast. You get the original movies, you get the J.J. Abrams movies. So it's similar where you have these different eras. And yeah, I think the modern Apes movies are better than the JJ verse overall. So I guess I'll give it that. Yeah,
I would not watch Nemesis over any single Apes film. I'll put it that way. Like there's certain ones in Star Trek that I would not rewatch. Right. There's nothing here that I would not want to rewatch.
First Contact.
Would you watch Nemesis or Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes first, Mike?
Nemesis.
Shit, yeah, probably Nemesis. I forgot about that one existing. I just swept it under the rug. I forgot it existed.
I don't know. It's a hard one.
Nemesis is not even my least favorite Next Generation Star Trek.
At least I don't vampires?
You got Tom Hardy playing young Picard.
I can't have Mark Wahlberg. No, I'll watch Nemesis. I take it back. Yeah. Good Apes. Apes together strong. I love it.
Apes together strong. Podcast together.
I'm glad that I saw, because I never saw any of the original series, the first 5. So I'm glad that I was able to see those and appreciate those. And I think, it is a very strong track record as a franchise. And the new ones have been great. So I'm excited to see where the future goes. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad they're still making them.
Yep. Watching the old ones, you'll see new references that the new ones made. You're like, oh, that was a reference to this one from the 70s that I didn't realize. Like, there's value in watching all of them, I think. So anyway, we love Apes.
So we'll have to have some discussions after next month after we finish the series, wrap it out with King Kong. What long form series, where do we go from here? What will our next series be? And we'll have to decide that.
And I guess, do we tease a March Madness?
We do, because here's the thing.
Letting the cat out of the bag.
Jacob talked a little bit about the future of this podcast in that next month, for the end of the month, we're going to be doing King Kong. To fill up the rest of it, we're going to become sportos again. We've been doing a lot of sports talk on this, and so it's time for us to celebrate a little March Madness.
March Madness.
It's a madhouse.
Duke, you got North Carolina, you got Duke, you got Kentucky. All great
Fort Wayne?
teams.
Blue Devils.
But we'll be doing. We've done it in years past. I don't know if we've done it the last couple years, but several years ago we did March Madness, where each host would pick a topic of their interest and focus on that for the week. So we'll do 3 weeks of March Madness, the first 3 weeks of March. There's 5 weeks that we'll be doing podcasts in March this year. So we'll have King Kong last, and I think we can pitch that we're going to be doing the final season of Cobra Kai as well.
Say that
March.
now,
Yes.
listeners, because we need you to start. You know how much
Catch
we
up.
enjoy Karate Kid on this podcast, so you
Yes.
know
That's
we're
right.
gonna talk the end
So
of.
you know we have to talk it. We've talked every other season since we've been watching it. So the final season, we'll say goodbye to all our favorite characters.
No, and that was a great long form. It was only 3 movies, but I'm glad we did the Karate Kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we had to, Mike. We had to go back. My favorite.
I'm the greatest advocate for Terry Silver ever.
That's right.
Kid episode,
Who's now in the Cobra Kai universe. So
Take what I
excited to see how that wraps up.
But
Yeah.
to this day, my favorite moment on this podcast is Jacob being so affected when Pat Morita says, "Oh, just bad balance," when he says the bonsai tree is broken in part 3. When he's like, "Oh, Jake's so hurt by this."
Yeah. Remember, that's a movie about 2 like old rich guys
on cocaine
aiming to kill a teenager. Named Danny
after humiliating.
Over a karate tournament. Yeah.
Yes.
Over
high schoolers.
Kill him.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they leave him at the bottom of a cliff to die, essentially. Yeah, it's pretty.
What if someone made a movie where the guy who grew up with Elon Musk, he doesn't have his money, he doesn't have any of his power, said, "Hey, some guy at the 7-Eleven crossed me. Let's kill him, Elon Musk."
Yeah. Remember back in Vietnam, you owe me one. But
some guy shushed me at a movie theater, and now he has to die.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh well, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
So
give ready to
we'll
swept.
kick off. That's coming up. So that's our last 2 episodes. The first March Madness, I am kicking off. We are doing the Monster Hunter franchise. We're going to talk about the whole thing and then tie it into the new release Monster Hunter Wilds. So get ready for that as well. We got a lot of great episodes coming up on this podcast. Don't stop listening just because we did your 8 favorite ape films, you psychopaths.
Right.
That's right. There's more content to be had.
And we'll see what the next long form series will be. Normies, write in if you have an idea that you want us to cover. Obviously, we've done a lot of them so far. We've done Star Wars, we've done Harry Potter,
Pirates,
we've done Lord
Transformers,
of the Rings, Pirates, Transformers, Star Trek.
We're gonna get a lot of write-ins for Pirates, so it's important that we nip that in the bud.
We
have done it already.
We've already done it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to see what the next one will be. I have some ideas. You guys might have some ideas. So we'll talk about that off pod. And but if you have any ideas, Normies, write in. Write in. Tell us your favorite Apes movies. Tell us what you thought of this one. What did you think of West Ball and The Kingdom? And
the next long form franchise we're doing is the Maze Runner trilogy.
That's right. We're West Ball heads now.
Yeah, we're ball pilled now. But
we're going to do the Scorch trials, whatever the fuck that
Jacob
means.
keeps saying ball is life, and he keeps saying that's what his tattoo means is West Ball is life.
Yeah, it's West Ball is life. Kevin Durant.
I thought I was a Kevin Durant fan, but I was actually a Kevin Durand fan.
Exactly. We'll keep making some good content for you. The work continues. It is important.
The work continues. The symbols have meaning.
And mysterious. The symbols do have meanings. And yes, so like we said, check us out at Normies_like_us. Hit us up on all social media. Rate, review, subscribe. Watch us on YouTube as well, where you can see us do these quizzes. Thank you again, Mike, for putting that together. And thank you guys for going through this with us. We have been your hosts. This is, I think we're all just going to do it. Proxima Colin.
Maximus Caesar.
There we go.
And this is Jakesamus Jacob.
Mike Vathan. Reading a book.
This is Colicus Colin.
All right. Thanks, Normies.
Thanks, Normies.
Ape, Normies
Ape together strong. Ape not kill ape. Knowledge is power.
Normies shall not kill Normies. Yes.
It is important.
The lawgiver. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.